course, Nukeduck himself, or rather Alfari himself, Rumble, still quite low overall. Have to see how the rest of the lane plays. You can see Nukeduck a little bit more comfortable on the top side now that the wave has balanced out, but Vizichachi doing his best to zone off with the range advantage. Probably wishes he could stay mini-Nart indefinitely in this matchup, but will not have that luxury, especially as we move later in the game.
Xerxes creeping up in towards this top lane. That minion, unfortunately, the blue minion walking up towards the range creeps means Xerxes can't quite get in range as much as he would like to.
Moving forward, the wall up is dodged. Eyes on the cocoon. Cold is now coming in. That is a fast Gragas. He's going to back off here. Stun will connect onto Vizichachi. Good bit of damage. Have to be careful. Mini-Nar's now coming out, so the burst damage for the Gnar is gone. The sustained damage is now back.
Coldfield's comfortable walking up here to thwart a gank and to stop that fight from ever happening, but ultimately Gragas doesn't bring a whole lot when it comes to the 2 versus 2. We still would expect an Elise to win out in that, but if they can get the drop on Vizichachi, that's when they'll win.
Have to be careful. Under the tower, they see Xerxes. They immediately back off, just hoping maybe fishing for a summoner spell there, but now North Karen in trouble, just barely able to survive.
What I tell you, Dracos, you expect the Zyrakan to die in this 2v2.
I don't know if anybody expected that. Northscarin having a hard time in this lane. Cannot step forward into Patrick, but it is a flash. Traded for a cleanse in the end. So, while they're at a deficit, maybe an opportunity to punish the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, and Kabe recalls TP's back in the lane, but it's really uncomfortable for him to walk up and clear this wave because it was sort of frozen on OG's side of the map. And you can see, if we look down towards bot side, Mithy is actually all the way up in that bush, trying to zone Kabe away from the CS. So ultimately, I think it's a terrible teleport from Kabe. Because the support has to go back to base, he just wasted that summoner spell. He's not even EXP range.
But you can see the call ender. Elise is now moving to the bottom side of the map. Maybe they're hoping to break the freeze here, but for now, he's just caught doing nothing. And Cold knows he can move for this one, but the bot lane cannot come contest.
Xerxes smited Cold there, not the Scuttle Crab.
Bit unfortunate. Mithy has a black shield. Northscarin has to go back to safety. Stand aside will connect Cold on the bottom side, but there will be no follow. Mithy taking a lot of damage here in the trade.
This 2v2 is absolutely doomed from Splice.
Oh, the flash forward. Northscarin trying to make it up.
Double TP.
So connect. They're totally committing. Splice taking a page from the Fnatic playbook, and Patrick now in trouble. Goodbye to the Draven. Freeze frame as fire rains from the sky, and a double kill comes through from Humanoid. From non-existent to dominating, Akali is back.
Kabe needed this. The 2v2 is in such a brutal position for Splice, but the full team says, we will commit down here. This lane is permanently frozen. If we don't make this play, the game ends now. Vizichachi and Humanoid both coming down with the double teleport as well to catch OG off guard to get a couple kills.
Definitely caught off guard. The question is, what can OG do while those TPs are down? Their TPs are down as well, and it's a difficult position they now find themselves in. A snowballing Akali is a terrifying sight, especially when Alfari was doing so good in the individual matchup.
Oh yeah, I mean, this Akali was just permanently pushed underneath the tower, never had any room to do anything. You can see they feel very comfortable committing here with the flash forward. The second it connects, Splice already had this plan. Xerxes came down here, the TP comes in immediately. Double stun there from Humanoid means both Patrick and Mickey will fall.
And once again, excellent highlight coming in from our observer team, highlighting the second the TP was used topside. Nuke had to TP back to secure that wave. Instantly, Splice knew they would have more members on the bottom side if they went for the fight.
And now, the best part of this for Splice is that with 2 kills under Humanoid's belt, if this can now unlock the mid lane matchup, if now Humanoid can get the push advantage against Rumble, it creates so much safety for that bottom lane that was constantly being pushed in. Now all of a sudden, if Akali can be the first one to move, you can then make plays around the side lanes.
Now we see the swap coming out. Nukeduck left on his lonesome, protecting that top lane tower as Patrick and Mithy fight for a few of these plates, and Humanoid and Vizichachi now teaming up to move to the top side tower. Nukeduck needs to get out. Cold level 6 though has tools to disengage if they try to start a fight.
Splice are making this rotation up here very early. Notice there's not even a Rift Herald here yet, so they need to commit many members topside to go for this race. You can see OG also want to move over. They have the tools to try and clear away the waves with the Rumble and the Gragas.
Nukeduck stuns now coming in. Nukeduck diving back and forth, just burning cooldowns, forcing them away from the tower. Meantime, Patrick is uncontested, breaking plates on the bottom side.
Yeah, let's switch bot lane now because Vizichachi's like, okay, well I can't go top lane. I need to come bot lane and pick up some minions. Mithy just trying to zone him away from the towers. Patrick Near's getting 3 solo plates in that bottom lane. I think this could actually be a very good trade for Origin.
So they're saying Humanoid moving up, trying to dive Nukeduck, but Cold is shadowing once again. They want to disengage. They know that they have an advantage given what they've got on the bottom side. Nukeduck not going to overstay, waits to see the members moving towards mid lane before he returns back to deny at least this 4th plate.
Alfari now being pushed out of the mid lane as well. Ideally, Cold would love to be in top lane, clearing away the minion waves, but because Xerxes and Humanoid can move together so quickly between both mid and top lane, he's forced to sit in the jungle, just protecting against the dive, which means his barrels are not there to clear away the minion waves and stop the push from Kabi and Norscaran. Nukeduck
doing what he can to hold on here. Xerxes now coming up as well. Cold on the way too. Minion wave falling away. They won't commit for the full dive. Nukeduck just grabbing as much CS as he can while the tower at least slowly dies.
Yeah, it's actually been so long now that the Rift Herald is going to be spawning, so while Humanoid does get chunked out in the mid lane, Splice were the ones that early committed up top side. In 15 seconds that spawns, Xerxes can easily solo that out with his spider legs.
Topside control looks like it may start to pay off here. But now you have to keep your eyes on where exactly the Draven is going to go, as the lanes have the potential to reset.
Yeah, the call here from OG, you see after that push up bot lane, they're like, wait a second, hold up. It's 10 minutes, Rift Herald is on the map. Splice want to take that, so we send our duo up there.
Cocoon, max range is going to connect onto Alfari. Mithy now coming in with the Black Shield, buying a bit of time. Eyes on Humanoid, where's he going to go? Binding will go wide. And the play will be stopped in its tracks. Perfect timing from Mithy coming in with the Black Shield to stop anything else from happening.
That's the rotation right there, coming up towards mid, trying to keep Alfari safe and let him push out this wave and get a good recall for himself. I love this game already, Dracos, because even though we've only had 2 kills, you can tell that both teams have very different ideas of how they want to play this game. So it's like, okay, we get out of this 2v2 bot lane, we rotate the map, we buy time for the Herald, and now Origin have called that. They say with the Herald spawning, we can now match in that 2v2, and they're back in that beautiful matchup of Draven Morgana.
Comfortable to do so. Mithy, though, still has to be careful here. A lot more damage now on Xayah. She starts to get some of these early items. First item's not yet complete for Patrick. We're on the opposite side for Kabe. But Norscaran as well, fighting with, you know, stepping forward a lot here this game. And while he's made it out with his life every single time, still has to be careful. Still has to give that respect to potential kills from Draven and Morgana. And I'm kind of still waiting to see more from Humanoid here, Ender. Of course, a good game so far. Came in with the TP. Helped his bot lane, kind of rescued them from a losing situation, but now with the 2-0, still in a very tough spot in the matchup.
Yeah, you know, he's got a 600 gold lead at the moment, even though he's down in CS, working towards that Gunblade, and it seems that in this 1v1, you're always going to be pushed in by the Rumble, because he can just drop the Flame Spitter, instantly clear away those minion waves, and what that has unlocked with the pressure from the duo, as well as Alfari in the mid, is the control over this river for Origin.
Here we go. Stepping forward, though, just immediately wants to take Xerxes out of the fight. They know if they can take one member, may be able to win the whole thing. The Binding will go in. Not going to be quite enough on the Draven. Good sidestep from Xerxes on the back half of the Whirling Death there. Nukeduck, though, grabs the solo kill on the bot side. He got permission to go in as soon as they saw all 4 members of Splice there. Split back, Norscaran immediately goes in. The Gragas now taken out. Patrick still alive. Ford now locked up. Norscaran now set to fall. Where's the catch in for the Draven? It's not there yet. Rumble will grab the kill. They're backing off. Alfari kills Norscaran, and it is a mess on the top side.
Yeah, Splice going super deep for that fight right there, but Origin win out overall. They trade 1-for-1 in the river, while Nukeduck goes nuts up against Chachi in the bottom lane, getting the solo kill and the turret on top.
And now Patrick still complete control of the top side of the map. You can see Kabe got a little bit more experience as Patrick was roaming around, but will get the level 8 shortly in 104 CS to 89. Doing well, but Alfari could be in trouble. Xerxes going up, the TP coming into the mid lane. Humanoid has to be careful here. Patrick looking for the duel with Kabe. Kabe firing back with the cash in. Goes through yet another solo kill in this matchup.
Cash money for Patrick top lane. Origin solo players are coming up so clutch right now. Kabe thought he could take the fight. He has his ultimate, he has his flash, but he just dropped right there. Big play from Patrick.
Brutal.
Man.
Nobody snowballs like a Draven snowballs. Goes back, buys Bloodthirster, as well as the pickaxe. And let's take a look at the pro view here. There's 1v1 on the bottom side. How did Nukeduck come out on top here?
Well, Nukeduck has a level lead right now over the Gnar. He uses the Q to extend the range of the flawless duet for the stun. You can see just so many resets. There's nothing the Gnar can do. And if you think back like 2 years, this used to be a bad matchup for Gnar into the Aurelia, because she could always force onto you. When Gnar's in his mini, he just wants to poke. He wants to keep you at range. But because of Aurelia's ability to reset her Qs onto her target, she can instantly close the gap and make sure there's no getting away.
And I mean, you have Fleet Footwork, she has Conqueror. So once she's on top of you, once that is stacking up on top of on the path,
you're trying to run really fast.
Yeah, you just run as fast as humanly possible. Vizicachi not fast enough. Difficult situation now to be in. And I love, once again, the swap from OG is just paying dividends over and over again. Humanoid, though, now grabbing the blue buff, getting closer to the Gunblade. Maybe this can be something. Vizicachi now retreating. Stun will come out. Mithy is here just in case. Stun will go wide. Not going to get anything. Once again, also Mithy, exactly where he needs to be. So OG really just moving around the map expertly.
Yeah, as long as Mithy shows up in the right place at the right time with his black shield, it should be very effective at stopping any attempts that Splyce are making for these fights. And even while he's down bottom side, there's a play up top. Patrick is alone, and there's a teleport.
Going in, Kave has to be careful here. Patrick, where's he going to go? Sidestep splashes out from the recon, but the Akali's there too. They've committed enough resources to kill Patrick. He will get taken down. Humanoid grabs another kill.
Really heads up play there from Splyce. Humanoid using his teleport once again to make a solid play up top side. With the numbers advantage there too, they should be able to respond for their first turret of the game, try to close this gold lead.
Ooh. Can they grab it? Pretty easy to do. Cold won't even walk up. Not enough time, but still a small gold lead for OG overall. And while we did say Patrick bought a pickaxe,
he sold the break.
He sold it during the replay. Undid it, most likely. Didn't just throw gold away and got boots too.
You never know. Sometimes pro players do some silly things. Probably not that
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, Ender, because I don't know for sure. But now Gunblade completed. That is an important first item, as well as you've got Rune Glaives coming in for each of the respective junglers. So there's a lot of burst on both these teams. We're just waiting to see who gets caught out first.
Look at this from Alfari too, going for the double flat magic pen with the boots and the Morella Namicon. The healing cutting going to be pretty effective with the Grievous Wounds on the Akali. Now top lane. This is the teleport coming in from behind. Good job on that to spot it. And I mean, Patrick's just in a hopeless position, right? He can flash away. He probably didn't even see that the humanoid teleport came on through, so there was nothing he could do about that.
Ooh. I love it when we zoom in on the death cam, but it also feels so sad. Poor Patrick. He wanted the 1v1. Classic
There's just
moment.
no honor from this Splyce team.
I'm just concerned for Splyce because I think that right now Norse Garen's going to die. Nope, we'll make it out. Never mind.
He's got the moves.
Cast Curse saved his life. Anyway, continuing forward, you can see the difference in play. It's not going to amount to too much. Once again, a game of relatively small gold leads. The Herald was the important part of this early game. OG and Cold were able to secure it, and now they are set up to break the mid lane tower if they want to commit, but Humanoid's on the way up. We may just see a first full-out fight.
And there's no teleport here on Nuke Duck, so OG will get the turret damage from that Herald, but they can't commit any further forward because Splyce were ready to collapse with 5 members at the same time, while Nuke Duck was much more comfortable picking up a minion wave in the side lane.
Nuke Duck now stepping forward. Humanoid spotted out as he clears out a bit of vision and grouped up Splyce. Norse Garen stepping forward, double battle dance to close the gap. I'm just waiting to see who oversteps here. Vizicachi stacking up the Rage Bar. Meganar will be on the way, but just barely not going to hit it.
Right now, Humanoid is just the strongest member in this game in terms of gold, in terms of itemization. He has that Gunblade. So if Splyce are going to do anything, it has to be around him, and he has to be looking to assassinate Patrick in these team fights. I think the turning point in this game when we look at 5v5s, because overall, very scrappy. You have a lot of tools to knock it back. You have assassins trying to dive in. It's going to be all over the place. The determining factor for me is whether or not Patrick can plant his feet and just throw axes and kill Humanoid, or if Humanoid can get that assassination. It's going to be very key as Chachi gets in a little trouble.
Split action. Chachi now knocked back, but the Meganar is there. Have to respect the potential for the engage. Keep your eyes on the bottom side as well, because Alfari has gone down, but OG now realize they may need to win the fight. The Soul Shackles come out, whirling death, gonna hit 4. Now that's gonna be enough. Pulled back, and Nuke Duck gonna grab the kill there in the end. A 1-for-1 trade across the map. There's no Baron though on the top side for OG to take or even contest, so it'll just be the tier 1 tower.
Yep, they can run up there. Both teams going to be trading here overall 1-for-1 as Splyce continue to put more and more resources into Humanoid. They want to snowball this Akali so that he can go toe-to-toe up against Nuke Duck's Aurelia. That's going to be a tough task because Nuke Duck should be closing in on that Trinity Force relatively soon, but Xerxes seems to think that's the best way for Splyce to win.
Makes a lot of sense, but I have to see what Patrick wants to do about it. Of course, the member that is getting the most resources on the side of OG, left alone to farm so much, get so many of these tower plates in the early game. See what the second item buy will be. A lot of MR on the opposite side, realizing the Elise and Akali duo, a lot of the burst damage there. Very focused team comms. One of the beautiful parts about being in the stadium is you can hear the players talking. Not what they're talking about, but
this is really greedy from Vizicachi. That's just a pretty big mistake in my opinion. Look, top lane fully pushed in. Your jungler's down bottom side. He's trying to sneak away a crab, but if there's a Baron there, maybe I can understand it. You're trying to pick up the crab, so you have vision over that Baron. It can't be swept out, but pretty big blunder by him. While the rest of Splyce doing good things down bottom side. Alfari can flash away from the CC, but can't flash away from much of the damage coming through from that Akali.
And just the diving potential of Xerxes Elise coming to fruition there. 4-0-1 for Humanoid. He may have bought the Merc Treads, but now he's a little bit more pen. And a Hex Drinker coming in for Patrick. Definitely giving Humanoid his due respect in this game.
Coward!
What?
Build more damage.
That is damage. It's just a little bit of both.
A little bit of both? Okay. I can respect it.
He didn't build a QSS.
Hell yeah.
That's right. Don't be too critical. Now, Vizicsacsi. See, this matchup is, I think, the matchup that Spice were looking for. And we can see why, because Vizicsacsi just can kind of dart around on the outside. But sadly, the rest of the team not going to get to dart so much. The binding going in will go wide. And the double bounce will actually take Vizicsacsi out to safety.
It's really interesting watching how Splice are playing this game, because it seems like the three-man core of Kabe, Norscarin, and Chachi are on a different page than Xerxes. Those three are trying to push up top lane. Xerxes like, hold up, guys. I need to farm my jungle and keep on level pace here with Cold. So that's the one thing I'm a little concerned with them as we move into the Baron phase once that spawns up and maybe this outer turret falls down, is if they're not on the same page, Origin can just group and fight them.
Only Kabe in the mid lane means they get a little bit more chip damage down, but OG will not overstay their welcome. Humanoid and Xerxes were moving in for the collapse, could have been disastrous. Floater's shield combined with the Hex Drinker is going to make Patrick pretty hard to burst out. They don't just find him isolated. And now Nukeduck moving up as well. So a ton of attempted collapses in this game, Ender. I feel like we always see someone moving in, looking for that opportunity, fishing, waiting for someone to step out of position.
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching at home, I encourage you just follow the mini-map right now, because honestly, the big part of your screen where all the action's happening, it's just minions going down. Ultimately, what we're watching between both these two teams is they're very good at playing around vision, is who has more members in the area and when. So you see waves are frozen up top lane, Alphari goes top to push out that wave to create pressure. Instead, he realizes, okay, because I went up here and my team has less members in the mid lane, their mid lane from Splice's side can roam up and force him off the wave. So it's this constant push and pull of where these two teams can pressure around the map, and that's really what the deciding factor is in who can find a fight and if a fight will happen at all.
Now Nukeduck's waiting on the flank. Humanoid can't walk back. The stun will come in. A lot of burst damage coming in from the Aurelia. Humanoid has to be careful. Now needs to look for the retreat. Nukeduck debating his options. Elise goes up, but she has to come right back down. Mithy now stepping in. OG looking to get a few more cooldowns. We'll just get the ulti out from the Aurelia in the end, as well as traded for the Gragas ult, so not too much of a win.
Yeah, big loss though from Splice. Okay, that did not land. That was a missed binding, Dracos.
Just objectively missed. Nothing fancy.
You're welcome.
He was just walking. That one, Norscarin dodged. So, works out nicely. Really thought Norscarin was going to die there. Serendipitous. There's like trains crashing around Norscarin. He's walking on his way to work.
He's just walking like straight
car like feeders past him, crashes into a building.
He's got his headphones on.
He's got his headphones
you
on.
know?
He's chilling. You know, he's having a good time. He's oblivious. Well, he's safe for now. We'll see if that changes as we move forward. Had some struggles in lane phase, but he's been playing pretty well in a lot of these skirmishes and bigger fights, even at the 2v2, not necessarily Splice favored. Obviously, the team fight Rakan can be a massive threat. Interesting as we check in on levels. You talked about items already. Level 14 for Nukeduck, level 14 for Humanoid. The mid/top laners of Vizicsacsi, Alphari lagging a little behind in XP overall, but I feel like these are the two big people that we have to keep our eyes on. I would have said for sure in Champs League, and I feel like I did, that it was the Draven, but Nukeduck and Humanoid are the two that are making the plays.
Yeah, I mean, after that really clutch play from Splice around the bottom lane to get those couple of kills and then rotate out of the bottom lane, it really alleviated a lot of the pressure that this 2v2 is going to be able to put down. But now I agree, the most important matchup is Nukeduck versus Humanoid, and I really like to see the itemization coming through from Nukeduck as well, working towards that wit's end, knowing that he is going to be fighting against this Akali in the side lane, and even if he's in a 1v2 situation, that second player is very likely the Elise that's going to be bringing a whole lot of magic damage.
Good position for split pushing, absolutely. Both teams resetting. No one breaking a mid tower quite yet. That is the catalyst for this game to kind of just explode, for action to appear everywhere. Once this breaks open, you just get so much passive vision control, but honestly, we're in a position where we might see a Baron before we see a mid lane tower.
That would surprise me, honestly, because if you can't take the mid lane outer tower, it's very hard to get control as Norscarin.
For the engage, stand aside comes out, just a trade of cooldowns. The Rakan all being down is going to limit the engage and disengage options for the side of Splice.
Right now, Origin, though, have Alphari and Nukeduck both in side lane, so that was Splice's window to try and make a play, 5v3 around the mid lane and maybe burn some teleport cooldowns, because they know Vizicsacsi doesn't have a teleport of his own, so he's up topside. Xerxes is here too. Alphari playing this smartly, though, and backing off.
And instead, OG have their focus on the bottom side of the map, laying down a little bit of vision control, setting up for this Ocean Drake. Alphari still has to be careful here. The rest of the team will secure this one. Splice not interested in contesting here, but will instead move over for some Baron vision, look to secure that area. As Kabe fights for mid lane pressure, but they'll realize that OG have now secured the Drake. Splice, of course, matched in Oceans and still have the mountain advantage if they do want to push for these larger objectives.
I'm thinking this is going to be a pretty slow game, Dracos, because the more we look at it, we say there's so much damage from both of these two teams. They have tools to make plays solo, but in terms of front lines, it's pretty lacking on both sides. The Gragas is going full AP, which you expect in this day and age, but still not going to provide all that much. Even on the side of Splice, you have no real tank. You have Vizichachi going for a Warden's Mail, knowing that he has to be some form of frontline, and that his output in a side lane isn't going to be super relevant. So both these teams are going to be very hard-pressed to walk into enemy territory and just butt heads with the enemy. They must have a numbers advantage if they want to make a play.
And talking about that optimization, talking about these team compositions, I do like that we have a Void Staff now coming in from Humanoid, limiting some of that MR-focused itemization that's coming out from the likes of the Aurelia, the Draven, heck, even the Rumble. You see exactly what he wants to turn that Null Magic Mantle into later, but even then, third item, or 2.5 items now completed for Patrick. Depends on if you want to call Hexdrinker a full item. I wouldn't. But Bloodthirster and IE incredibly powerful, but Xayah closer and closer to that 3-item spike. So what started as a very disastrous game for Kobbe is now starting to balance out.
Yeah, once he gets that Infinity Edge, I think it's smooth waters ahead here for Kobbe, if that's a phrase. We'll pretend it is.
Sure, smooth waters ahead.
Smooth sea.
Maybe not for Mithy, though. Leap over the wall from Humanoid, trying to fish for an opportunity. Black Shield, don't think it's going to be enough. Looking for the delete, but is it going to get the Shoal Shackles? Force him away. He flashes into the Rumble. All the knockback is there. Northscarin on the retreat. Patrick just wants to kill somebody. With them flashed out, nothing's going to happen in the end.
All right, we need these teams to fight more than once every 5 minutes, because the flashes come back up, both teams engage, and then they just flash away to safety. They're leaving me hanging here. I want something, but ultimately Humanoid gets out after just barely missing the solo kill onto Mithy.
And sadly, for Humanoid, Mithy uses the stopwatch, it looks like, immediately goes back and just buys an hourglass, so he has the cooldown back again.
Okay, he can't kill Mithy. Patrick has Hexdrinker, Wit's End in the mid lane. Stopwatches on the other two members. Humanoid is not happy with that.
Yeah, strongest member of Splice, kind of limited in the impact he can have. Have to see. I like that he fished for the play.
Oh, yeah.
Because if Mithy didn't have enough gold there, that would have been the stopwatch pretty much for free. Was forced to flash out, which is a bit unfortunate, but still, fishing for those plays, that kind of proactivity is how you win a game that is very, I'm going to say, stalled out like this.
Yeah, and the whole approach was really cool, too, where he pushes out that bottom lane, uses very deep vision and denial with that control ward towards the OG red buff to walk up towards that mid lane and come in from over the rafter wall. Mithy definitely didn't expect that, and if you can find another angle like that, that's sort of Splice's best way to find a fight, is to seemingly randomly get that Akali access to the OG backline.
Ender, quick shout out for Game 4. If you're hoping that the unofficial World Championship belt will stay in the LEC, then you're looking for Excel to win. Or you just have faith in Fnatic because we're going to smash your Rift rivals. But we'll find out. Getting a little ahead of myself. That's next week. For now, it's Patrick versus the Creep Wave.
Nice.
Unafraid to continuously auto with those axes. He's stacking, folks, and it's time for your signature Daniel Dracos.
Oh, baby.
League of Draven.
What's it going to be?
Check-in. We're at 348.
All right.
Double that. That's how much gold he's going to get. If he does cash in on a kill, plus 25.
Now, don't die, Patrick. Don't die.
He'll lose half that. But Northscarin really wants to make
That's
a die.
a teleport, actually.
That's not a great TP. He's locked in the middle of the team. Cole just runs right into Vizichachi, but Humanoid just immediately takes out Nuke Duck. Classic sleight of hand. Look over here, but the real action is happening elsewhere. Alfari now on the retreat. Northscarin. Patrick wants to cash in so bad, but he will not get over greedy. They know that they're down a member.
All right, Humanoid coming in once again. I was so confused by that teleport. 3 members of OG run towards the TP, and then Nuke Duck's like, wait a second, guys. Getting jumped on by 2 people. The Wit's End not enough to save him there as Humanoid once again finds his mark.
Bar slowed down for now. Equalizer goes in. They're going to take him in the pinch if they want to fight anymore. They have to be careful. Patrick stepping forward. He cannot get a kill in the exchange. And Splice slowly but surely building a goal lead on the back of that play. They break the mid lane tower. They get the kill onto Nuke Duck.
And the items keep rolling in for them too, right? Humanoid now 3 full items plus the Oblivion Orb for that extra flat magic pen. Infinity Edge on Kobbe, that was the time for them to fight. They saw that window, they seized the opportunity, and seeing this one more time, notice Xerxes and Humanoid in the bush. There's no vision in here, and they know it, and they saw Nuke Duck's entire approach from the bottom lane because of their very, very good vision. I almost wonder if the teleport was intentionally away from this position so they could find that isolated 2 versus 1. The TP looked weird, but it was just distraction.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll say that. Vizichachi playing 6D chess. It's a thing now.
Teamfight tactics. Let's use that from now on.
Gnar, just as powerful there as he is here, as we can see.
Friggin' Yordle shapeshifters.
The game hasn't even come out yet, and they're already broken.
Lulu looking broken, too.
What?
They're on the Baron.
They're on the Baron. Patrick now stepping forward on the Draven, see what exactly what he can do. Done. Xerxes incredibly low, however, the knockup is there coming from North Sky. They're just going to immediately delete one member. Kabe is still alive. Patrick in the midst of everybody. Vizichachi with a big up, the shutdown onto the Draven.
Look at
That's
him go.
2. That's 3. Kabe showing up huge.
Kabe popping off right there, hits his item spikes and jams it down at OG. This is going to be an easy Baron for them as OG are left with scraps on the bot side.
Trying to fish for what they can, but a beautiful Gnar ultimate. The confidence there to engage to immediately delete Cold off the face of the map. Good play from Splice.
Very good by them. It was almost a rough situation. They got funneled up into that corridor versus the Rumble equalizer, but it just didn't matter as now Kabe has 100% crit chance. The snowball the Draven strategy that Origin tried to go for did not work in the early game. Good play from Splice. Shut that down. We'll see this one more time because the cast gets wasted right at the start just to try and burst down the Baron perhaps. Cold goes down immediately. And again, there's no front line for Origin. So Patrick is left out to dry. Mythi has nowhere to go. These team fights are very, very difficult for OG when they see a giant Mega Gnar just ready to soak up damage and lock them down.
And the reality is right now, Kabe and Humanoid are simply stronger than their counterparts. The Hexdrinker, yes, helps it with that 1v1 matchup, but it significantly lowers your DPS compared to the full crit itemization of the Xayah. As you mentioned, 100% crit chance on top of that. I don't know if you know, but, you know, Blade Collar definitely scaling with crit is pretty obnoxious. Making it even more powerful. Patrick, I feel like, desperately wanted that kill. Lost half his stacks.
So now Origin faced against the Baron. They're sending 3 members bottom lane. This is the window they must seize before they lose their mid lane tower.
Humanoid on the retreat. Where's the Shroud going to go? Needs to make it out of safety so incredibly fast. They're dashing through. He's going to delete Mythi. Wants to make it out. The Soul Shackles will not connect. Leaps back in, but a beautiful body slam will stop him in his tracks. Meanwhile, the mid lane tier 2 tower is going down. Humanoid, no, the redemption will not connect. Cold on the chase, but he can't do it. Look at how much damage this Akali does. This man will not be stopped. Vizichachi breaks the top lane tier 2.
Humanoid stands his ground in the 1v3. The recalls aren't coming in fast enough. Splice is going to take the tower.
Breaking the inhibitor as well. Humanoid versus the world right now. Saving the game for Splice. The sole member of the advantage in an even game state. He broke it wide open, and now the entire team is taking control.
Splice looking to cut down Origin before they make it to Rift Rival. Splice trying to make their name to push into the top 3 in the LEC. And Humanoid, of all people, stepping up is the biggest surprise and the biggest hero of this team.
What else can he do here? Does not want to get caught in the Shroud in the equalizer. He's going to have to accept his fate.
Oh, he's cooking.
Stepping down. They're trying to find him. Where's he going to go? The shutdown comes through. 1,000 gold to Nuke Duck.
Cast cursed.
Yeah. Whirling Death will now come out. Just a spot, just to play a little bit of vision game as they did not have enough eyes on Splice. They could reasonably accurately guess. You can see the rest of the vision. Second Ocean will grab over to Splice, but in the end, I just want to watch him play Akali on the bot side again. We've had so many insane Akali plays today.
Akali's looked real good. All I'm saying. I'm
gonna say as a region, I feel like we look real dumb that we didn't play it for the first 2 weeks. There's probably something that came from scrims, that there's some crazy counter we don't know about.
Let's be honest. A lot of our flex picks, solo lane champions did end up getting nerfed. Akali not touched too badly. Now Humanoid in this 1v3 just watch the burst damage on towards Mythi. And then coming out of this, he ults to try and get back in the Shroud. As soon as he realizes he's not invisible from that, he uses the Zonias and then gets knocked towards Mythi.
To get knocked away.
So close on that Shuriken to the animation looking like it's a little bit further than the actual hitbox on that spell. And almost could have taken that. If he gets that to land, it's probably a double kill in all honesty.
And shout out to Cold. If he had not body slammed in that exact instance, I think Akali could have killed all 3 of them.
Oh, yeah.
Because the execution damage is being interrupted, stopped in its tracks, keeping Nuke Duck alive. But Cold now fishing. Will forward trade his flash and ultimate, just for Kabe's ultimate there.
I'm a little concerned for Origin right now. They're pushing very forward up this mid lane, and notice behind them there's a lot of good red wards from Splice to look for a teleport flank. Vizichachi with his Mega Gnar as well, has the TP, alongside Humanoid.
Of course, has just running out. The tired debuff, something to take into account. Going to be 15 seconds before he can stack that Rage again, but he's uncontested for now on the bottom side. Rumble moving down to match him. On the top side, it's that terrifying Akali. We can look at the damage chart, and well, we said Humanoid was a big deal. You can see the damage definitely backs that story up. See what OG want to commit, if they even want to fight for this tier 2. 4 members strong, 5th member moving down now, and Humanoid. Looks like the tier 2 will just break in the favor of Splice.
Yeah, Origin will just give up their tier 2s and do their best to hold on to their inhibitor towers. The next Baron seems to be the place this game will be decided, whether or not Splice can take that. Origin just have to hold the line up until then.
Need to back off, need to give the Meganar respect though, have to be careful. Flash is of course up and available for everyone but Cold, so not too concerned at this stage. Mininar comes out again, they may have an opportunity to push forward and clear some of these waves. Nukeduck forced to respond to the top side, to those super minions, so they will be down a man, but Akali is also pushing in the mid lane, so they remain relatively unconcerned. These waves not crashing at the same time is going to make things a bit difficult.
Yeah, without the Baron buff, it's just way too easy for Cold to drop the barrel on the mini wave and clear that out, unless they send 5 people into the mid lane as the wave is crashing down bottom lane. Wait, Splice get the tower now.
Now backing off,
Equalizer.
Get a bit of healing. So yeah, forcing out that cooldown. Equalizer going to be huge in a coming team fight potentially. Chachi slowly stacking up here on the Rage Bar, and it looks like they might even break an inhibitor tower, or rather a Nexus tower.
Ooh, got him.
And just incremental advantages once again for Splice. Looking so clean as we move later in the game. Norskaren stepping forward, posturing, threatening. Vizichachi stunned for now. Of course, no Equalizer. The amount of damage laid down to Rakan, but just too slippery to be locked down.
Yeah, I think Splice just stick around. They go bot lane, try to knock that turret. Then they have one more wave mid lane. They can break that too. Don't even have to stress for the inhibitor. So Humanoid gets out of safety because Baron is spawning in less than a minute. They get these towers, then they can easily go back for the Baron and look to take that to close.
Eyes on Patrick. Where's the damage going to come from? Not going to connect. Only one man hit by the ult there. Nukeduck has to be careful though. Norskaren stepping forward. May just be able to find the stun. Hits on 2 members. Patrick needs to find a kill if he wants. But just simply too much damage. His ulti's back up. He pulls the feathers back, forcing the flashes out. Norskaren leaping forward and stepping back. Cersei though fishing for Patrick. There's Humanoid. No Humanoid on the backside. No hope for the Draven. Mithy is next on the list. They're walking him down. OG desperately trying to make a last stand. The flash forward. The Randuins. Mithy will drop. Alfari is next trying to get the barbecue, but it's not enough. The double kill. Nukeduck the last man standing, but it's just not going to happen. Splice now going to end the game. Splice will take down Origin and raise the question, who really is the 3rd best team in Europe?
Splice come out, they beat Origin, and Humanoid was the star, carrying 6-1 and 2 on the Akali from the early game, bailing out Kave, teleporting into the bottom lane, getting a double kill to the eventual 1v3 stall in that bottom lane. A beautiful game from that player.
Absolutely. And Cersei, while I didn't immediately find some of those early ganks we expected, things just look so good for Splice as a whole. The double TP bot lane. You love to see it. I was surprised, but they capitalized instantly. They saw Nukeduck TP'd in the top lane, and they immediately went bot to force an advantage, punishing, you know, kind of Draven and Morgana for stepping so far forward into that lane.
And really, 10 seconds before that play happened, I said, this bot lane is not recoverable from Splice. The wave was in such a bad position, but Kave baited the all-in. Okay, guys, okay. Humanoid, you beasted it. You beasted it.
Scared. Good job, Kave.
I like this new trend.
I like it too.
Pumping me up.
You can always come for high fives, pro players, if you're listening. And well played. Well played. Chachi, we missed you, but you were great. Honestly, fantastic game from Splice. I'm really happy for the guys. We leveraged a lot of criticism for the struggles that they had in the early weeks. Humanoid, I think, you talked about this guy. He was underwhelming. You thought it was not in a good space. Not even in a bad space. You thought it was pretty bad. But he comes up here today, changes the story.
Yeah, I was wondering where is Humanoid in my games? Where is he gonna be? When's he gonna make the plays? Well, he'd been saving it up for this game, the one that mattered against Origin. I couldn't be more pleased to see it.
It's a good look. On the opposite side for OG, I feel like we still haven't seen the same level that we saw from them in spring yet. We've had a few moments. They've lost now to 3 teams. Fnatic, Origin themselves, yeah, maybe once. Fnatic, G2, Splice. There you go. We can take a look back at this huge Baron fight for Splice, 29 minutes in. But for OG, only the top teams beating them at this moment, and Splice happy to be counted among them.
Loving what I saw to Splice today. Check this fight out one more time. Cold gets caught out from the start, and I don't know what you can say about this one. OG are just hopelessly split. Splice said, we start up the Baron, we bait them into us. Based on their positioning, they were gonna have to come in from left, from right, and be taken down easily.
I need another name for Gnarl that isn't Gnar or
The Swoop-de-doop.
Swoop-de-doop it is. It was a 6 Swoop-de-doop. Vizichachi Classic Vizicsacsi champion in the Gnar. You can see the damage charts weren't necessarily in his favor, but had that big moment.
This is so unfair. Humanoid did all the damage for the first, I don't know, 35 minutes, and then the last team fight, Kabe's just like, I'm going to pump it all out.
I do think you're underestimating Kabe's contributions to some of those early ganks. It was a game that's, interestingly, it feels like in hindsight it's all about Humanoid because of how he was everywhere on the map, but it was so much attention put into just like playing around this Splice bottom lane, setting them up to go to the lane that they wanted to go to, and Humanoid, while he wasn't the focus, was the guy that was getting all of these big advantages. And if you want to know who I think should be key player of the game, I think the answer might be obvious. LoL Esports on Twitter is the place, but you do have 3 choices. And actually, I'm going to say it's a hard one. Humanoid, Kabe, nor Scarin.
Hard?
I mean, Kabe, like, dodged a lot with those ults.
Who TP'd bot lane and got the double kill? Who got Kabe out of that lane?
Who was never supposed to survive the Draven Morgana lane and then did?
Who got helped by his teammates?
It's a big debate here on the desk. Let us know what you think. Your vote, your voice, something. All right, let's see what Splice's coach has to say. Let's send it over to Duke and Lore after beating Origin.
Thank you, guys, and thank you, Duke, for joining me. Actually, who should be player of the game here, according to you?
Humanoid, I think. Humanoid, yeah. I think he really smurfed on his Akali.
He did, and we'll talk about him a bit later during this interview, but I want to know. Let's talk about the draft. Rakan into Morgana. I would call that hinting, but what was it?
Okay, so the red side draft is pretty rough at the moment, and looking at our assumptions, like this is one of the scenarios we had planned, where basically we give them the Draven Morgana, and then you have the choice whether you go for another support, like Braum, for example, for a safer lane that counts as Draven. But we were really comfortable in Rakan, and we know that if you play Draven Morgana, you have to play a perfect lane, which they did, until they did not, and if you misstep once, then you just lose the game. So they had a really good freeze early on, and afterwards they couldn't refrain themselves from all-inning, and we double TP and we won.
You don't think it was a risky gamble when you think about it?
I mean, if you want to win a game, I think especially when you are on the negative side, which is red side at the moment, you kind of have to make a gamble. And yeah, we took a losing matchup, but matchup is not everything. Like their comp is way worse than ours after 10, 15 minutes. So if we are able to make a proactive play to break the freeze, a swap or something, that's why the Rumble pick was also pretty good to prevent a swap. But as soon as they used the Rumble bot, they couldn't do anything about the swap.
And that's a very good transition for what I have to say afterwards, because you were so good at reactive plays and setting up double TPs to create actions around the map. So is it something you worked on?
Yeah, we worked a lot on TP plays in general, because that used to be one of our problems, especially against teams that use it really well, like Fnatic, for example. So we talked a lot about it, tracking enemy TP, our TPs, kind of forcing the enemy into a situation where we could force a reactive fight with a TP. That were really good. So yeah, we worked a lot on this, especially here you have to do it around Mega Gnar timers from Chachi, but Chachi is really good at doing it. So yeah, we worked a lot on TPs.
And it showed during the game. Now, let me ask you something. You're backstage. You guys have a lead against Origin, who's supposed to be one of the best teams in the league right now. What do you feel as a coach when you know that just for 1 second, if you blink like 1 second, everything could go away?
And anything I've learned that when I'm backstage, I'm powerless anyway. So it's really stressful for sure. But in a sense, when you are against Origin, it's even more, it's easier to take, because when you play against a team that you are supposed to win, you have more pressure. Here we're just happy to see in the how we were playing. I think we could have played the mid game better for sure, but there's still some room for improvement. But it was a pretty good experience today.
I agree on that. You were talking about Humanoid a bit before. He stood out so much during the game, but it's not always been like this. Like when you look at these stats, sometimes he may be the player in Splice who doesn't shine the most. Why is he so inconsistent, and how far can he go as a player?
And Humanoid is a rookie, so sometimes, like a lot of rookies, you would have high highs and low lows. And I think the very talented players are often like this when they start. And the question is, as a coaching staff, what we have to do is make sure that he has more highs than lows, and when he has lows, he's able to control it. And I think he's getting better and better. I think he's insanely talented. In my opinion, the best rookie mid laner in terms of potential this year. And that's why we chose him. So I'm really happy of his growth, especially at the end of Spring Split. And at the moment, I think he's going to do a super good Summer Split.
And we'll see how far he can go. Now, about Splice. When you look at the standings and the way teams are playing right now, what are your hopes and expectations for Splice for summer?
And our hope is to qualify for Worlds. So we're gonna do everything we can to reach this goal. I think everyone is beatable. Except G2 maybe that are looking extremely strong, but they lost to Fnatic due to unfortunate top lane circumstances. But yeah, I think G2 are really hard, but we are confident that we can beat the others.
We'll see about that during the split. Now, I wish you a good break during Rift Rivals, and we're gonna take a break as well here. And coming back, we'll have the fourth game of the day, XL versus Fnatic. Don't go anywhere, guys.
Fully committing, Splice taking a page from the Fnatic playbook, and Patrick now in trouble. Goodbye to the Draven. Freeze frame as fire rains from the sky. Of Splice there. Split flash in. North Scared immediately goes in. The Gragon's now taken out. Patrick still alive. Ford now locked up. North Scared now set to fall. Xerxes incredibly low. However, the knockup is there coming from North Scared. They're just going to immediately delete one member. Kave is still alive. Patrick in the midst of everybody. Chachi with a big off the shutdown onto the Draven. Humanoid, no human onto the backside. No hope for the Draven. Mithy is next on the list. They're walking him down. OG desperately trying to make a last stand. The flash forward, the random. Mithy will drop. Alfari is next trying to get the barbecue, but it's not enough. The double kill. Nuked up the last man.
Welcome to ProView. Exclusive POV streams for every player in every game let you get closer to the action and get inside their minds. With Multiview, you can create your very own stream, unique to you, with up to 4 feeds. And with our advanced timeline, you can hone in on all the big plays that matter most to you. Watch LEC in a whole new way for €14.99, or get the All Access Pass for $19.99. and welcome back to our coverage of the LEC Summer Split. I wanted to take a moment to talk about an incredible feat that only one player can accomplish, and soon. The very first ever European pro player to secure 1,500 kills in our league, and it is Fnatic's Reckless. Since we've been tracking stats all the way back in the EU, table behind you is showing the total kill count for many pros that have come, that have gone, and some that still remain. Only one player continues to outperform the rest, and it is Reckless. He has secured 1,486 kills to date, and he only needs 14 more to hit that 1,500. Jankos and Soa is tied behind at 919 and a phenomenal 911 for Perks. But that is not the accomplishment I wanted to talk about, because Reckless, he made his debut in 2014 and has grown to be the golden standard, the definition of what a European bot laner can be. There has been a career with many ups, many downs, emotional defeats, as well as international last year. Reckless and Fnatic want another shot at the title, and it is on home soil for 2019. The superstar ADC, he joined the league in 2014, as he was not old enough to compete in 2013. He's played 344 official games, made it to Worlds twice. He's won 3 MVPs here in Europe, and he's got himself 2 LEC titles as well. He made World Finals last year. He's 14 kills away from 1,500 and looking to keep Fnatic's undefeated streak alive. The question I have for the casters today is, will he do it?
What a great question you have there, Trevor. I'm Medic, joined here by Ender, and it's
Medi Eddie.
That's me and Vedius' thing. We don't do that together, okay? Legend! Woo! I'm sorry, Vedius, please forgive me. Anyway, today we are going to see Fnatic play up against Excel.
They absolutely smashed. It was so impressive to watch how quickly they could dismantle this team through the early game. And personally, I would love to just see more of this early game dominant Fnatic that tries to close games out as fast as possible.
So would I. Excel stand in their way, though, and it's kind of really the first chance we get to see of Mystiques and Jeskla as well. Yesterday on the Sonataric, they didn't really get the chance to shine as a bot lane, but I think back to last split, and there were moments of brilliance from these two players.
Yeah, I would really like to see this duo on something new. The Sona already banned by Fnatic, so I'm already very happy here. And I think for Excel, this game is very much about judging some of their newer members. The bottom lane you highlighted, Mickey as well, still has yet to find a solid footing here in the LEC. So for a team that is struggling, we now look towards individual players to step up and prove that they can play among the best.
That we do. Sona taken away, Yasuo as well, Sejuani removed from the pool, and 3 support bans, the Pyke, Rakan, and Karma taken away by Excel.
They really don't like Hylissang here.
Or Reckless.
So much. Or Reckless.
With that Karma
Reckless
pick.
plays the Karma. I wonder if he plays the Pyke too.
I do just want to say, Reckless's performance on the Karma yesterday must have been quite heartening for most Fnatic fans, because last time he played a support, he had to bench himself immediately afterwards. He's back on the pitch today, so we'll see him play in this matchup. There's the Yuumi first lock for Fnatic. No real surprises there.
Yeah, I mean, they banned so many supports, but they left out probably the most OP one of them all. The Yuumi, even after the nerfs we've seen, can be incredibly oppressive when put ahead. I like to see this from Excel. They go ahead and pick up the Sivir, which is arguably the strongest pairing with that Yuumi, and also the Jarvan to deny that Cataclysm, which really gives Sivir a tough time.
Definitely does. We'll see what Fnatic want to round out their bottom lane with. Expect to see an AD carry or bot lane pick him, maybe alongside the jungler. Don't want to have that pool pinched too much, but with the Aatrox still on the cards, Fnatic have a lot of options.
Yeah, they may just go Aatrox plus Aurelia and get the double solo lane terrors at the moment. The other option is go for a marksman, you know, that could be a little bit more boring, but personally, I would love to see them just enable Bwipo. He loves the Aatrox. I expect that champion will be going towards him, and something like the Aurelia to allow Nemesis to pop up in the mid lane would be very cool.
And as much as he does love the Aatrox, we've yet to see Bwipo play it this split. He's been banned out against them a lot of games, obviously. The Corki is going to be the lock for Nemesis in the mid lane instead. A little bit more safety there.
It's very interesting to see the blind Corki, actually. Typically, you don't necessarily expect to see that. That being said, as a ranged marksman, he's always going to be scaling quite well towards the mid and late game, and in tougher matchups against AP threats, can go for the Hex Drinker himself. So it looks like XL going to be drafting a very strong 2 versus 2. One light binding lands, you're going to take a whole lot of damage from the Lux as well as the Boomerang Blade coming through from the Sivir.
Be very difficult. And of course, you have the shield, the prismatic barrier coming out from Lux for the Yuumi Q alongside the spell shield from Expect to try and dodge out some of that damage in the bottom lane. I want to talk a little bit more about that Corki and what we might see Fnatic ban on this second phase, because you said it's odd to see a blind Corki, but now they have a couple of bans to try and alleviate that issue.
Yeah, you're either going for 2 quick bans on Excel's side towards the jungle or bot lane position. Now, Fnatic, maybe they want to remove... I actually don't think you have to ban anything in the mid lane necessarily. The Aurelia could be a good option for them. We see that be very high priority here in this league. The Akali, too, we've seen be very dominant so far today, and I know can do well up against that Aatrox, but it seems like they just want to protect the top lane for Bwipo.
Does make a lot of sense. Remove the cannon, at least taken away from Brox's hands. He has been so instrumental in Fnatic's early games across the course of this split, and taking an aggressive jungler away from him makes a lot of sense from Excel's side. I'm going to lay the groundwork for a thought I have had. Corki early on, is there any chance at all this goes down towards the bottom lane instead of being played mid? We have seen it in the past. I know it's not meta these days.
Honestly, the first thing I thought of when Fnatic locked it so early was, this has got to be a flex pick. There's got to be some bigger reason why you are taking this so early on in the draft. I still expect to see it go towards Nemesis, but I know a couple players around Challenger and maybe some pros as well have been going for the Corki from time to time in solo queue. But still the expectation to be mid.
Well, there is the Aurelia ban that you talked about, and a good prediction on that one. Now we'll see what XL want to pick blind into Fnatic. Of course, they could just pick their top laner because Bwipo is already playing that Aatrox we expect up towards the top lane.
Could always just go for some safe mage towards the mid. They're going to keep things ambiguous, though. The Akali did slip through, so going to be trying to make that follow the Aatrox in that matchup. Can do very well because of the mobility. You can dodge away from the sweet spots on those Aatrox Qs to avoid a lot of the damage and then close the gap as soon as it's on cooldown.
It does make a lot of sense. Fnatic trying to round out their comp with what we expect to be Marksman Ezreal here in the bottom lane, and then you're looking at a jungler for Broxer. Lee Sin, signature pick. He has a whole video dedicated onto how to play this champion, and now we'll see it firsthand.
I was actually, before I came to the studio today, I was sitting at home, I open up my monitor, and what is that? It's Brox's stream. I'm watching a stream, he's playing the Lee Sin like 3 different games in a row. Absolutely loves that champion and can pop off on that pick, especially when you see immobile carries like the Lux, like the Sivir. There's a lot of room, especially post level 6, to get behind them, go for the insects, and really make their day not too fun.
Ooh, Poppy, the final pick here for Expect in the top lane. So we think it's going to be Akali mid,
right.
Poppy top. The question is whether we'll see XL following that Aatrox around. Will Mickey take the Akali up towards the top lane, or is he going to be playing into Nemesis in mid?
I think it's mid lane, not with the Poppy. Poppy definitely going to be going towards the top side. Mickey just going to be looking to weather the storm in the early laning phase against the range. Corki's not too... He doesn't have the highest range out of these, marksmen in the mid lane, so it's not going to be the worst thing in the world for Mickey, but then at level 6, maybe look to see him roam around the map or unlock some kill threat with that ultimate.
It definitely will. Let's talk a little bit about how these compositions are going to play out, though. XL have a little bit of pick with the Lux, with the Akali. The Jarvan lockdown is there, but you've got such strong teamfight presence with the Sivir and with the Poppy as well. Fnatic, on the other hand, strong early game, very strong AD carry support duo in the form of the Ezreal and Yuumi.
Yeah, I think Fnatic rely a little bit more on snowballing through, getting towards that 2-item spike for this composition. They don't have the best front-to-back team fight, lacking a little bit in CC, so eyes are on Broxy to see if he can make plays and unlock his team, which he's been so good at so far this split.
The fans are out in force once again. Fnatic undefeated so far this split, 6-0. They'll want to make it a lucky number 7 coming into Rift Rivals. They look like the strongest team in Europe at the moment, you have to say. And XL, still yet to get a win, are standing in their way. Once again, we get onto the Summoner's Rift and Fnatic, their signature level 1, standing next to this Tribush, looking to see if any of the XL players will step too far forward. And XL have just set up their own battle lines. They're saying, okay, we don't need to step onto the other side of the map. We want to defend. We want to get our job in those first couple of buffs, and then look to see if Kadril can have an impact early on.
I would be very surprised if Excel just piled 5 members in towards that tri-brush, but the Ward will spot a potential cheese strat. You know, you see a lot of the time when you have ranged champions like the Lux and the Sivir, if they just camp in that brush to catch Reckless and Hylissang off that rotation.
Looks like Nemesis is actually heading up towards the top lane. We saw Fnatic do this last Whippo going into mid on the Shen against Origin. Now it's Whippo going into mid into the Akali matchup. A matchup we don't always expect to be in favor of the Aatrox.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised to see this. Ultimately, there is a lot of skill involved in this matchup on the Akali side in particular to make sure you're dodging away from a lot of those skill shots. I wonder if it means Broxo wants to put some attention towards the mid lane early on, you know, with the Aatrox bringing some CC in his kit. Might be more feasible to gank an Akali than it would be perhaps this Poppy in the top side.
It does make a lot of sense. Poppy's so tanky early on, very difficult to jump on her as well with the steadfast presence. XL knew what they were doing when they picked that Poppy good into the Yuumi and the Ezreal as well.
Yeah, looking at the rune choices too, for Nemesis in particular, going to be picking up the Kleptomancy himself, not something you see all the time, but knowing he was going to be against a melee champion regardless. The Poppy in this case, he's going to be able to get free gold and get closer towards that Trinity Force. We talk a lot about Trinity Force spike on the Corgi. I don't think it's actually as big as, say, someone like the Ezreal, perhaps. But once Corgi gets that Triforce plus an Infinity Edge, works on a Rapid Fire Cannon too, he is going to absolutely shred some of these targets on Excel's side.
Level 2 hit first here for the XL bot lane. Of course, new this week, although you would have seen them play in the Spring Split. Jessica and Mystique didn't have the best of performances yesterday. We'll be trying to prove that they belong in the LEC today. And what a matchup to try and do it into. Yuumi, one of these power picks we've seen so often, and Reckless, the most powerful AD carry in our league. Most kills of any player ever in European League of Legends.
Yeah, it's definitely a bold move here, but they have a very strong pushing bottom lane. With that Lux, with her E, she can tag all the minions with her passive, and she gets a fair amount of attack speed at level 1-2 with some buffs that came in like over a year ago to make it so she can quickly get her passive procced and push out these waves in tandem with AoE from a Sivir.
Okay, so early on our question was where would Broxah be going? He is looking towards mid. He went blue into red into red into blue into full topside clear. He's now stealing away the Razor Beaks, but has been spotted. Kadril trying to answer with something of his own mode. Meanwhile, the fight starts in the bottom lane. Reckless is ignited here, ticking away, but Hylissang still has the heal if needed. Reckless gets underneath the tower, and Hylissang gets back as well.
Good precaution there from Excel, not going too far forward. You know, they get Reckless very low. A lot of people flash forward to try and get that kill, but knowing the heal was still there from Hylissang. And top lane, Expect going in on Nemesis.
Expect's putting a lot of damage down onto Nemesis, and there's no escape from this. He flashes, but the hammer comes down. Broxah lands a kick in the mid lane, but Mickey's underneath his tower. And meanwhile, let's go down towards bot because Kadril is on the chase.
Here comes the dive teleport too from Expect. They're going for it all.
Reckless still has the flash. Hylissang burned both of his summoners, but the counter teleport coming out from Fnatic now, and Whippo is here for the fight. Kadril ignited. Jessica pushing them back, and Whippo won't get anything out of this.
Yeah, the rest of Excel are going to be able to back a way out of here, no problem. Nemesis using his teleport back into the top lane as well after that failed 1v1. But at the end of the day, it's Excel massively on top here. Expect with clutch individual mechanical play in that 1 versus 1. And then bottom lane, they were able to deny quite a few minions there from Reckless.
That they were. We do just have a pause coming out, so we'll find out what's going on exactly with that. But while we are in the pause, if you want to open up a separate tab on your browser, you can check out Training Grounds with Broxah, where he plays his signature Lee Sin. It's available on our YouTube page at LOL Esports. Have a watch of it. He taught me some new mechanics. I'll be honest, I'm never going to be able to use them because I'm not mechanically good enough. But people who are better than me at League of Legends...
Like me.
You, I
play a mean Lee Sin, man.
You do play a mean Lee Sin. So you're just not used to compliments. I was expecting you to...
No, I was expecting you to keep laying them on me.
Oh, okay.
Because it doesn't end there. I got a mean Rek'Sai, you know, I got it all.
Yeah.
I'm the full package.
If all means 2 champions, you're definitely the full package. Let's get back to the game, though. XL 1 kill up early on. They actually played this top lane fight very well. You can say Expect. Nemesis just not expecting this.
I wonder how this... Oh, Nemesis tanks 2 tower shots.
Yeah,
okay, that's a mistake. First of all, then Expect uses the minion to get the E dash, and then watch this W. The second Nemesis starts the Valkyrie, boop, you're not going anywhere, and then it's a Q flash. The animation is effectively canceled there by Expect, and he extends the range of that spell by using the flash. Very nicely done by him.
It's the 2-time MVP coming up pretty big for his team once again. But the question, I think, has to become now, you know, the game has been slowed down. In fact, Brox's early pressure hasn't really amounted to much because XL have kept him on vision. How do they then take this into the next portion of the game? They put good pressure down bot. Reckless hasn't actually had to burn his flash, but they've got both the summoners out of Hylissang. What are the next steps for XL to actually take this lead and run with it?
I think the most obvious place to look is the top lane. We see Nemesis continuing to push in on this Corki. Now that he's missing his flash, there's a lot of room for a Jarvan just come up top lane. You know, he has his flash too, so it's a very easy EQ into flash, knock up, you stop that Corki in his tracks. And unless Broxa is there to guard him, that shouldn't be too difficult of a gank to pull off.
Just so everyone knows, Jeskla did have to adjust his sound settings. We'll be getting into the game very shortly. I see him reconnecting on our screen, so hopefully won't be too much longer before we jump back on into the action. It's a little bit of a slow start for Fnatic, but I don't think you're too worried, right? We're 4 minutes in. It's not really too far behind at all, but early doors is looking good.
I mean, so we sort of set up this idea of when Fnatic went for the lane swap, it was to put Bwipo in mid lane so that Broxa could find an early gank. They were trying to find an early kill on towards Mickey, and this is the same thing they did a little while ago against Origin, I believe, where they swapped the Shen into the mid lane. They wanted CC to find an early gank. Unfortunately for them, there was a very nice ward placed by XL on the Raptor camp, on their own Raptor camp rather, to spot Broxa going for the counter jungle and then that eventual gank path towards the mid lane. So Broxa wasn't able to get much, and he's really the force that drives action in these Fnatic early games. He's the guy that snowballs and starts that ball rolling for the team.
Well, speaking of action, I believe we're back to Summoner's Rift once again. Nemesis pushing in the top lane. Expect actually already burnt his teleport here, and XL are going to take Mickey up towards top to try and hold that wave for the moment. Reckless came back into the lane here with the teleport. Hylissang followed him, of course. That's how Yuumi works, and Mystiques is going to run away. Jessica backing in the bush, Mystique's just being as much of a nuisance as possible to allow his AD carry to retreat.
And you ask, why is this swap coming through from XL? I think a big part of it is that with the first blood, Expect went back, spent 1,100 gold on the Ninja Tabi. So he wants to be versus Bwipo, who's going to be dealing full physical damage here on the Aatrox. Expect also went for the Conquer in his rune choice as well. So it's going to be much better in these extended trades, whereas we usually see Poppies go for the Grasp of the Undying for that laning sustain. Expect wants to have a little bit more oomph in longer fights and potential side lane trades later on.
A little bit worried for Jessica as he teleported down in towards this bottom lane because his support is not with him. Mystique's just backed away, so it's quite easy to force Jessica away from the CS down in that bottom side, but for the moment he seems to be doing okay sitting around it, actually trading well against Hylissang and Reckless. Mickey caught out by Broxa, but he's able to get away.
Nicely played there from Mickey, walking down, and they're swapping again. XL see the Aatrox up top lane. Expect walks through the jungle. Even knowing Broxa was there walking out, he sees his path.
But the thing with swaps like this is the team that's taking them first, the team that makes the swap, tends to get more XP out of it because you're not losing those minions as you try and rotate between the waves.
Yeah, just look at the CS differences, right? You compare Nemesis to, let's say, Mickey. In this case, that's a 20 CS lead there for Nemesis. You can see he's level 6-2 while Mickey is only level 5, so there is no kill threat for this Kali.
And it looks like Caedrel's trying to make things happen on the bottom side of the map. Does have the blast gun if he wants to jump in. Reckless and Hylissang underneath their tower, but Mystiques and Jessica happy just to chip away at the turret plates for them for time being.
I really like how Caedrel is playing here. Very deep vision to spot out if Brox is on this side of the map. He is level 5 and pushing in this wave. They were considering a potential dive, but not going to make the call in the end.
It's super risky to dive on towards Ezreal, of course, who still has the flash. You can just jump so far away, and Hylissang has the zoomies for the heal, has the shield from the passive, the bop and block, I believe it's called, and it's pretty difficult actually to get any sort of purchase in that bottom lane.
I think XL's play may just be to go on towards this red buff. You can see Caedrel still really hanging around. The push in means Mystiques can walk all the way up forward into that bot lane tri-brush, get a lot of pressure, and they're spotting Broxa. Broxa going to be starting up this red buff in just a second. You can see the full collapse. Even Expect towards this mid lane. They just want to go on Nemesis.
Nemesis doesn't have flash, remember. He burned it in that top lane. There's a kill in the bottom lane as Hylissang falls. Mickey forced out here. Caedrel's going to jump in. EQ, flash, Expect, tanking up the tower, knocked back with a heroic charge, and Nemesis has nowhere to go. 3 kills to XL, 0 for Fnatic.
It was such a clutch gank there in the mid lane. They baited me. I thought they were going on towards Broxa, but they used the vision to know where he was so they could get that clean dive in the mid. Now Broxa, only level 5, is spotted on the ward and can't go for the play.
And it was only yesterday we saw Fnatic taking the early game to G2, one of our best early game teams in the league. Here, XL are teaching them just exactly how well an early game can be played.
Oh no, Reckless is out of range for Hylissang to jump back into, and you see one binding lands. This is what I said in draft. One binding lands, and you instantly pop that Yuumi.
Great stuff here so far from XL. They're about 700 gold in the lead. It's nothing monumental, but you have to remember there's double Klepto on the side of Fnatic, so that's going to be making up some of that deficit. The CS differences between the lanes have extended just a little bit. Nemesis about 20 farm ahead. Grippo as well, about 10 to 15 on average, depends where the waves are pushed.
Yeah, the biggest difference right now going to be in the top lane, with Expect picking up the first blood and that assist towards mid, and also the two supports here. Mystique's doing a better job of stacking his Spell Thieves in the bottom lane. That's a little bit easier there on the Lux, who has the heightened range to land those poke spells, especially when pushing underneath the tower. And the gold on a support Lux is actually very important, because once you start building up, you go for maybe the Ardent Sensor a little bit to get that run-in for Jessica, get the bonus damage, maybe in the Thean's Unholy Grail too, but then after that, I see a lot of Lux's build AP towards the mid to late game.
Can definitely work out pretty well for you. He's got the mobility boots already, so we'll expect to see him moving into some of the other lanes, maybe even looking for a few ganks towards that mid lane. Nemesis's flash is back up, so he has a little bit more security, a little bit more safety in that mid lane, but for the moment, Mystique's actually flashing forwards. Wow, it was very aggressive. Expect with the heroic charge, Whippo's going to pop the World Ender, just wants to try and get away. Trading still onto Expect. The hammer shot comes down, but Whippo with the healing is doing a lot of work on this Poppy. Expect still has the flash if he wants to get away.
Yeah, Expect knows Broxa is moving up towards this top lane. Very low here without the shield, still has the flash, but if Broxa gets around him, that kick is going to deal a lot of damage and take him out of the safety of his tower.
Steadfast presence makes it so difficult for Broxa to actually get near him, though. You can just pin him back so well. XL have done an incredible job in this bottom lane. We're 10 minutes in, and they're looking for the 5th plate.
Yeah, they're absolutely smashing. And yes, it's a good matchup, but this is what I wanted to see. XL made a roster change. They brought in Jessica and Mystiques, the two younger players on this team, making full use of that 10-man roster, and they're smashing Reckless and Hylissang.
You can see Nemesis was thinking about going down here with the package. He started to path towards the bottom lane, but he just can't get there in time. Mountain Drake, first tower of the game, 2,000 gold lead. XL are 2,000 gold ahead over Fnatic at the 10-minute mark.
It's a huge surprise here, because the context is Fnatic are 5-0. XL are 0-5, and Fnatic just demolished G2 yesterday. It's a huge change in tempo here now, as XL have full control over the game. They're playing so well from top to bottom. I really like what I'm seeing here.
And in Picks and Bans, we said Fnatic would be looking for those 2-item spikes, looking for those power points on their team. Well, if you're getting there behind the enemy team, it's such a struggle. There's already a completed Essence Reaver on Jessica. He's in such a strong spot. And now Mystiques is looking for that gang towards mid. The package was burnt by Nemesis, but he does still have the Valkyrie.
Yeah, he gets out no problem, but XL still so much control now, moving up towards the top side. Whippo coming down as well. He might get caught in rotation as K-Drill is here as well.
Bit of a pincer movement here from Fnatic as Boxer comes in from the side, looking for the jump forward.
The casual 1v2 with Whippo.
Whippo just doing what he can. Boxer misses the Sonic Wave and can't quite find his connection. XL able to survive some of that pressure, and meanwhile Jessica's just been up towards this top side, getting another plate on the tower. Whippo coming in, trying to trade there, uses the Darkened Blade. Spell should use to block the second knockup. There's the Prismatic Barrier. Mystique's pushing forward. Whippo pops the World Ender, but he's forced back. K-Drill's on this side of the map, and there is the final spark for Whippo. Just in time with the flash, jumps back in, the Ignite coming out.
Whippo going for the 1v2, so much damage. Teleport comes through, Mystique's in trouble.
He almost takes out Mystiques, but the light binding's there in time. Double TP coming in from Fnatic, the flank with Reckless and Hylissang. The True Shot Barrage will not connect, and now Nemesis, Boxer, and Reckless are trying to make this team turn it around. Expect with the hammer shot knocks back two. It's a Reckless and Hylissang duo knocked away from the fight.
XL get the kill and get out. Even with the teleports coming on in, they continue to best Fnatic. Their health bars are low though, so Brox will take the best of this trade and pick up a Herald.
Got to get what you can out of it, but that was so well played by XL. Whippo almost turned this fight around.
Yeah, Whippo going in here, I thought he was completely out of his mind. It's a 1v2, 1v3 situation with K-Drill roaming up as well. But then we got another fight. They teleport back in. They want more.
Expect's trying to catch up Hylissang, but Hylissang will get the you and me. Mickey down towards the bottom side, jumps straight out to Broxer and deletes him. Broxer doesn't get a chance to play League. Nemesis and Mickey are fighting down towards the bottom side as Reckless falls up towards the top. Mickey on the blast cone, managing to get away, but Nemesis with the chase. One more order will spell Fnatic's first kill of the game. Whippo's going to pull back Expect, but now there are 4 members of XL round.
XL want to fight. They get the stun against the wall. That chain CC, the deletion.
That is disgusting from XL. 7-1. This was the scoreline yesterday against G2, but that was Fnatic's favor.
Oh, they were more!
Catch. Make it 8. Just deliver it to him.
They will not hesitate. XL have 8 kills in the first 12 minutes against Fnatic of all people, and they continue to force and push against this Fnatic squad. It's a beautiful early game.
Where was this XL for the first 5 games of the split? This
Where
is
were they against
extraordinary.
Vitality yesterday?
This is incredible stuff from XL, and maybe Fnatic a little bit shell-shocked. They had such a strong performance yesterday. Today they have not come out of the gate swinging, and we'll have to see how they fight from behind.
And now we just have to judge XL with a gold lead. How effectively can they snowball this? Can they close it out? We see this fight one more time. Broxa had started the Herald, but Mickey wanted nothing to do with that. You see he follows the entire charge there with the E to get the instant kill. Then 3 versus 2 here. Reckless falls, Hylissang ends up getting picked off towards the end of this fight. We'll shift down bottom lane too.
Oh, nice slow-mo on that as well.
Yeah, it's smooth, but Mickey really know where he could go after he takes that kill, so it's a 1-for-1 trade in the end. And Blippo gets a little antsy here. No flash on him, so it's a very nice wall pin on towards Expect. And as you can see in the picture-in-picture, that's a free Herald for XL.
Yeah, and at the end, Hylissang backing on a ward. Bwipo and Fnatic have seemed all at odds and ends this game. You can see a little bit of a shake of the head there. Mickey trying to get away from Nemesis, but the chase is on. Fouling projectile used. Phosphorus bomb does not connect. Remember, that does give vision. Mickey hit with a Sonic Wave, but Boxer is not going to follow that one up. Rift Herald still actually being used in the top lane here by XL for their second tower of the game. 4.5k ahead.
Used it 5 seconds before turret plating fell as well, so they get the full value out of that, putting more and more gold onto Jeskla. Look at that, 7.3 thousand gold on him to the 4.9k on Reckless. That is a monumental difference.
He's almost doubled his goal. We're actually nowhere near that, but 1.5 times. I did the maths very quickly in my head.
Good
there.
recovery.
Yeah, but the great thing for XL is you're now starting to get these first completed items on your team as well. You can see Essence Reaver there. You're building up towards an Infinity Edge on the Sivir. Hextech Gunblade completed on Akali. Sunfire Ninja Tabi on towards Expect in the top lane as well. He's basically unkillable at the moment.
XL are in a beautiful position, especially with this Infernal Drake spawning as well. Reckless stuck topside without a teleport, so it could only be a steal here for Broxa.
You can cheer their name all you want, fans, but Fnatic need a miracle right now to get back in this game. Maybe a steal on the Infernal will spell the start of it. Bwipo trying to catch up Mickey down towards the bottom side, but already the Infernal Dragon is down. Mickey doing the damage. Bwipo has to pop the ult. Flash in the blast cone, not quite enough.
Ignite?
Ignite is ticking, and Bwipo goes boom! 9-1 XL. This is a demolition.
XL get everything. Another dragon, another kill. This team is popping off, and there's nothing Fnatic can do. Nemesis can try his best with the Yumi on the back, and the XL fans are in the house.
Finding their voice perhaps for the first time in the split. XL look indomitable. Now they're going to look for this mid lane tower, already taken top and bot. 15 minutes in, they are in total control, but the next steps can sometimes be the hardest. Getting that early lead, getting the snowball on is easy, but keeping it rolling in the direction you want can be hard.
Exactly, especially with 4 more minutes before the Baron buff spawns. This is usually a time of game where the game stalls out a little bit. XL have one objective on the map they can look to take, and that is the mid lane outer turret. What they need to do is use their soul lane pressure to build that up in the side lanes and find a collapse, then have Mickey pop off like he did right here. You can see the mobility. This is what I was talking about earlier. The mobility makes it impossible for Bwipo to trade back against him. The ignite, tick, tick, boom.
Once again, Bwipo goes down. I just want to give some credit to Mickey this game as well. He has played out of his mind compared to how we've seen him in the rest of the split. Really stepping up. He's already got 3 kills this game. That equals as many kills as he's got in any other game so far.
It's absolutely massive, and the question coming into this game was, can we get a better read on where the newer players, Mystiques, Jeskla, and Mickey fit in to the LEC ecosystem, right? Because we've seen Jeskla and Mystiques on an underwhelming Sonatark. Mickey in his 3 games really had not impressed, but so far they've been doing fantastically up against one of our best teams in the league.
And Bwipo just has to run away from Expect. Not much you can do against that much armor this early on in the game. XL with the push prio in mid lane. True Shot Barrage used by Fnatic to try and clear out the wave, but Jeskla and Mystiques can just step up. And one of the weaknesses of Ezreal is after you lose that ult, you don't have a huge amount of wave clip.
XL doing a good job of using pressure inside this jungle, try and zone members of Fnatic away from this tower, buying space for their players like Jeskla and Mystiques to walk forward and hit the towers. See bottom lane too, in that picture down the bottom left corner of your screen. Expect smashing in that matchup, pushing on forward very easily, threatening taking down this turret in all honesty, unless Nemesis moves down to cut him off.
He's trying to do it, he's on his way, but he walks over control ward down towards that bottom lane. You can see immediately Expect backs away. Jeskla and Mystique step forward in the mid lane. Tank up some damage, but that does a lot of work. It's Athene's first on Mystiques. We'll see where he goes next in terms of itemization, because right now, even something like an Ardent Sensor would do a lot of work.
It definitely would. That'll probably be the next choice here for Mystiques, especially with Jeskla finishing off his Infinity Edge very soon. The damage coming through as Mickey goes back.
Looking for the stun, but comes out. There's a teleport in as well. Counter TP used, but Expect already putting up the steadfast presence. Looking for the hammer shot, knocks back Rippo. Meanwhile, the mid lane towers, and the tower falls, and XL get what they want.
XL traded flash and a teleport for that tower just 2 minutes before the Baron spawns. That is what they needed to open up the map. You see, with so many members of Fnatic committed up top lane, Jeskla walks on in, picks himself up a very easy red buff, and continues to get further and further ahead. He can clear this wave base and pick himself up that Infinity Edge too for that extra cherry on top.
And you can see here, the chase was on. You think with the slows, with the chase potential, maybe you can get it, but Mickey does a great job of surviving.
Yeah, early flash there from Nemesis to make Cajal effectively waste his, but ultimately Expect with that ulti to knock the Aatrox out of the fight. Means very easy disengage for them, while the duo was getting a lot done on the other side of the map.
Oh. So, 19 minutes in, Ender. Let's have a look at our pre-game expectations. I thought the game would almost be over, and I thought it would be in Fnatic's favor. XL have turned that one right around. They've written a new page in their book so far today. And the question is how they can then take this into the rest of the game. Expect caught out a little bit here, but the teleport coming in. He's still alive somehow. The heal, the shield. Mickey's coming in. Mickey's on the back onto Broxer, but Mystique's so low already, managing to survive. Reckless coming in. The final spark won't connect, but Nemesis does fall. Broxer's going to go down as well, and Hittersang. The cat goes flat. It's a double for Jasper.
Fnatic going in, but they go way too far, and XL punish them one more time. 2 kills down for the 3. It's a trade up on the side of XL. And with that dragon spawning in just under a minute, it's going to be more objectives that XL can continue to collect.
And you've almost got 3 items finished on your Civet as well. We had a bunch of summoners burnt there though. Jeskla, no flash. Mickey had to burn his ignite. There's no flash on Mystiques either. On the other side, Reckless still has his, Whipple has his, but you don't have it on Broxer. That's your big playmaker, the guy that can catch out the Civet and kick him back into the team.
Well, now here's the thing. We have to look at Fnatic's comp holistically and say, how do they actually come back? What does their ideal team fight look like? And honestly, they don't have the greatest tools. I think they're really going to be relying on Nemesis to have a lead and to go into a side lane and use that quirky global pressure sometimes with the package to make these rotations, because otherwise, starting a team fight is almost impossible. The only real hard CC you have is going to be this Lee Sin, and that's just not enough to find reliable engagements.
Hedra putting out a lot of DPS onto Hillisang there. Of course, the Yumi squishy and the Jarvan only a tank build here. But the question is, how strong is XL right now? How hard can they force a fight? You've got double Infernal Mountain sitting on your Civi. Now you've got the rapid fire cannon there as well. Do you just keep Mickey in a side lane, or do you say Baron's up, the Nashor's there, we can go for this fight? Hillisang knocks himself over the wall to pick up the honey fruit, but if someone had been lying in wait there, that would have been a little bit dangerous.
Maybe just a little bit. Get caught out wouldn't be a great look with the Baron spawning right about now. Mickey walking through the jungle. Fnatic are trying to set up a trap. They've got 5 members coming over, but it's really hard to lock down the Akali.
Broxer lands the Sonic Wave, but the kick is in the wrong direction. Don't want to learn your mechanics from him today. Mickey's still able to escape, gonna get pulled back in. Ooh, not quite in time. Manages to escape, and once again, Fnatic tried to set a trap, but XL were ready and waiting.
Yeah, they tried to find it, but as I'm saying, the Lee Sin kick is not that reliable. He wasn't able to find the ward off. The flash was down, of course, so didn't have that option available, but now XL with the Mountain Drake, with the attack speed coming through from the Jarvan flag. They're starting this up, and Broxer must go in.
Let's keep it like this. Let's only see the XL vision, because Fnatic have to make the play. Broxer looking for the Sonic Wave, but the turn comes out.
Knocked out.
Shock knocks him back. Here comes the final trap, and Whippo locking in with the Dark in play. The kills are going to rain down. How many of XL can get away? Whippo in the middle of it all gets it. Steps forward as well. Mickey and Misty will escape with the define 3.
3 huge kills there for Fnatic. They lose the Baron. Baron, but they're able to take it on members. Excel must go back and regroup because that was almost a chance there for Fnatic to wipe them.
The only benefit for Excel is that Mickey still has it, and he is so strong. But you can see Broxah in the right position, gets in, then gets knocked out.
I like to see this, though, from Excel. They make the decision very early on, turn for the Baron, do not fight. They knew they were taken down low, and honestly, maybe they can challenge in this fight if Mickey and Mystique's commit. But the call, they were all on the same page to disengage and maintain the Baron buff on as many members as they could.
Fnatic still trying to take that mid lane tower. In the top lane, Nemesis and Hylissang are pushing in. You can hear the crowd trying to cheer on the undefeated Excel. We did wonder how easy it would be for them to convert a snowball lead into a win. We can see how easy it is to make mistakes from that last play. Now they need to regroup, reset, and think about their next steps.
Excel, they have 2 minutes and 20 seconds with this Baron buff. As you can see, they're already minus 2,000 gold, so they need to get some work done. They need some of these towers. I want to see them split up 4-1 at the moment, but I want it to be Mickey in the side lane. He still has a Baron buff. The other Baron on Mystique's can be with the rest of the team. If they group up as 4 mid lane, they can use the Poppy to disengage if there is a fight, which makes up the weakness of this lack of teleport, as Carlos has some important words for the Fnatic fans out there.
How did you break them with your face? Kind of just face rolled into them yesterday. So
they killed Cap so many times that they just didn't have anything left.
the emotional burden of killing your full teammate was the issue there for Fnatic. Excel trying to break the base of Fnatic right now. It is the 4-1 split. Mickey down towards that bottom lane. It's what you wanted. Ender. Now the rest of Excel rotate round. They're just looking for these towers.
This is perfect. As the wave collapses, Excel can send members down. They don't even have to put them into that lane. They just have to make sure they can be here if Fnatic were to try to find a fight. Now that the tower goes down, the mid lane minion wave is here, and they can look for something.
Excel on the hunt. Whoa! Knocked into the wall. Will need to flash away, but caught in the Cataclysm. Broxah trying to get onto the back line as Excel start the fight. Broxah caught out. That's one. They're looking for more.
Excel trying for more, but they're getting zoned out. Mickey tries to get the damage down, but must go back. Expect still in the front line.
They're looking for the reset. Just back away here. Fnatic able to hold on, but it is a 1-for-0 trade in favor of Excel.
Excel with the Baron for 55 more seconds. It's 5 versus 4 for the next 20. They have this power play. They should be looking for the tower on this push.
Here we go. Jessica standing on the front line, has that rapid fire cannon for the long range autos. The inhibitor tower down to about 3/4 health. Now half, now less. Looking forward as Excel step forward. Expect on the front line, but he might be caught out. He's so low already. Able to survive. The root lands onto Nemesis. Nemesis stepping forward with the Valkyrie.
Nemesis wants to go in. They have the chain slows. He flashes on in. The damage is not enough on towards Mickey. He wants more.
Excel just able to escape. The final spark lands. Nemesis caught in the binding and Whipple not here in time. They're looking for the speed up. Mystiques might be sacrificed. He will fall. Fnatic hold on to their base. They hold on to their turrets, and they just about hold on to this game.
They stall out the rest of the Baron. That is the important thing for Fnatic. They get a little turret on top as well, but their base still stands strong. They live to fight another day.
Just about. Expect almost fell. Mickey almost fell. We'll have another look at that fight because it was all Excel at the start. The flash in to catch Whippo.
Yeah, Excel wants to go in because both Yuumi and Corki were down bottom lane. They think they can catch out Whippo right off the bat. Then Broxah stops the autos coming through from Jessica. Even though he falls, Whippo does remain up. And then this front line gets chunked down. Expect is still all right at the moment, but when this wave comes forward, they overstay for the tower. Expect takes so much damage trying to buy space for them to knock down this tower that the Yuumi sees so many low HP bars. They see that Excel must run backwards, and that is where Yuumi absolutely excels.
Definitely is. You can see Expect here getting chunked out quite a lot, but the chase potential from that Yuumi, from Whippo as well, with the Umbral dash, from Reckless with the arcane shifts forward. Nemesis doing so much damage from range, and look at how close that was. Almost took down a couple of members of Excel. Mystiques decided to sacrifice himself really here, stepping back forward. The final prowling projectile hits, he's slowed, and he knows he's not getting away.
Yeah, I don't know if it was as much of sacrificing himself for the team as much as it was, I want to turn and kill Nemesis.
Let's give him a little bit of credit here. He both wanted the kill, but also knew if he missed the kill, he's going down, he's going to fall. Excel now pushing in towards this top lane, about 4,000 gold ahead at the 27-minute mark, but Fnatic are fighting back.
And now notice it is Expect in the side lane. He has the teleport up without the Baron, but whoa, they're going in!
He's got the kick! Jessica! That is the Lee Sin the guard that you want to see if you're a Fnatic fan, and now Fnatic can push forward, looking for the chase on Mystics. Mystics has no escape. Whippo's going to lock him out. That's another. Fnatic get 2 quick kills and are fighting their way back.
Absolutely unreal fight there from Broxa. Fnatic proved me wrong so many times where they go into these fights without the tools to get the big engagements. But it's Broxa with this Lee Sin who finds his mark onto Jeskla and makes him pay.
Fnatic is starting to get those items in as well. 3 completed on Reckless. Gone Blade of the Ruin King on this Ezreal instead of the Hextech Gunblade or the Ludens. Almost got a 3rd item on Nemesis. That will be the Infinity Edge. When you get that on Corki, your damage skyrockets. And the question is it enough for Fnatic? Because XL are still in the driver's seat.
Oh, look at that. The flash, or the kick flash right there from Broxa. Not even using the ward to get that jump behind. Jeskla just didn't stand a chance right there.
You can see how much awareness there is in some of these fights. The ping's out, knowing exactly where Mystiques is. Now, Mickey caught out. We highlighted him earlier on, said he was having a very good game, but we haven't seen so much of him since. Only picked up a single kill in the last 15 minutes or so. Would like to see that Akali getting onto the backline, chunking out the Ezreal, but it's very hard to do.
We come into this second Baron of the game in a very different state. No longer is it Excel with complete control over the map. Yes, they have 2 Infernals. Yes, they have a 2,000 gold lead, but it's Fnatic now pushing up, getting control over this river. Can Excel maybe use some of their deep wards as a teleport flank to start off a team fight? Because if they're able to find that reach from behind on towards Fnatic, they could single out some of these carries.
Importantly, we have just seen the Bloodthirster finished on Jeskla. Medjai stacking up for Hylissang. He's at 11. We want to get that one as high as possible. Redemption was the next item here for Mystiques, going for a more supportive Lux build. XL trying to get the vision control around here. They're going with the on the hunt. Cajal can't quite find the knock-up. The final chapter comes out, but here's the teleport behind them. And XL are looking for the fight. Locks them in. The stun lock. Nemesis is down. One shut down as Whippo comes in for the bottom side of the fight.
Jeskla chasing down Broxa, gets the boomerang blade and gets the kill. Now Whippo in a 1v4. He is way out of his depth.
Reckless might try and come and help him. Hylissang's there as well, but Whippo has to flash. Reckless trying to do what he can with the Iceborne to slow. Ticking down on Whippo. He gets taken out, and Mickey's still on the chase. Reckless trying to get away. Has the flash if he can escape. Needs to keep Hylissang with him. Expect jumping forward, but XL are on the offensive.
XL smash the team fight, and they have the minions here. Reckless uses the ult to clear out the minions, but there's another wave. Expect is here to tank the tower, and XL want the inhibitor.
Is this just it, though, Ender? They can take the inhibitor. You've still got 20 seconds on the rest of the timers. Looks like XL say no for now.
With just 10 seconds on Broxa, they must back away. But remember, the poke and the double slows from the Iceborne and the Yuumi here are taking Mickey solo.
Solo Reckless jumps in! He heals! He shields! He gets himself out! The QSS just in time, and the chase starts once again.
There's a teleport coming in from Nemesis on the top side of the map as well. They're trying to find the collapse here. Again, the slows, as long as Reckless has mana, they will be able to slow them down. But with Cajal here, it's going to be hard.
There's no package here on Nemesis. He might have just jumped into his demise. Jeskla jumped out! Crit, crit, boom goes the AD carry. And now Reckless
Look at him
is
go!
on the offensive, stepping forward. Yuumi needs to get to him. The true shot barrage sweeps them off the map. XL lose 2, and Fnatic are fighting back.
Are you kidding me? Fnatic out of nowhere. It is Reckless jumping forward, flashing in. He does not care. He will show no mercy to XL as Fnatic turn to the Baron.
Fnatic go for the Baron. Cajal not going to be there in time. Second Baron of the game will go to Fnatic. However, XL trying to get an Infernal in exchange. Cajal doesn't have that much damage. Expect is there with him, but Fnatic are trying to react.
Oh, how the tides have turned here. The Excel chants are silent as they are stuck in this pit, and the rest of Fnatic is here for blood.
They get the Infernal. That is impactful. Triple Imp is great, but the final chapter will lock up Cajal, and maybe that's the final chapter in this story from XL.
Is this just the game now? Fnatic take the Baron, they get 2 kills, and they have the minions in towards this mid lane. I think they're just going to rush straight for the Nexus here. XL do not have that much time.
The team with the strongest early lead, Fnatic were penned back. They were hampered, they were hemmed in, but somehow they have fought back this game. Gold pretty much even. Fnatic take a slight lead. XL 3 versus 5 trying to defend their base. Jessica caught out. The redemption's not enough. Crit from Nemesis takes him to the fountain, and now Mystiques and Mickeys have to run away. This will be the inhibitor at least.
This is where Fnatic look for the kill. The inhibitor goes down. They have the minions. Jeskla, the carry from XL is down. It is just up to Mickey and Mystiques. The other 2 members are respawning, but the towers are falling.
Fnatic clinged onto life in this game. game, and Mickey's trying to cling on to life for Excel. He manages to escape. The rest of Excel are back up. Whippo stepping forward for the fight. The Nexus towers have to be the target. Whippo with a double knock-up. Mystique's low. Expect trying to do what he can, but the Nexus towers are down. And Fnatic can just go for the Nexus.
Caedrel goes in, he can't find it though. Fnatic are on a rampage. Whippo goes for Mystiques. He gets the kill. Mickey falls. Fnatic get the win.
Fnatic bend, but they do not break. They're still undefeated.
Fnatic had no business winning that game, but it comes down to the play of Hylissang and Reckless to stall out and turn these late games.
They were on the mat. They'd been knocked out in rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But when it came to the crunch, when it came to the final fight, Fnatic showed their dominance once again. Performance, it was impeccable.
Look, let's not beat around the bush. Excel will be hugely disappointed in this game. It was their game to win, but the fact that they battled, and not just that, they smashed Fnatic, our best early game team here in the LEC. They absolutely brutalized them in the early stages of the game. It was so clean from them for so long. It was just the mid to late that everything started to crumble.
Yeah, just those mid to late decisions that
That's some quick math.
3 weeks of the split. And going into Rift Rivals, probably the best team in Europe. Yes, they've only beaten G2 in a best of 1, but Rift Rivals starts off with best of 1.
Look, I'll be honest, after seeing this early game, I'm a little hesitant to be all aboard the Fnatic train. Obviously, they smashed G2 yesterday. Yep. Let's not, get around that. But Fnatic showing they can come back from behind. That was one of the questions I had, was without an early game lead, can they do it? And the answer is a resounding yes.
Oh, you know what I want to see, Ender? I want to see some highlights of that turnaround, because there were so many, of course, Brox's kick being one of the key impactful moments of the game. And let's have another look at it from his point of view.
He actually landed the Q onto Mystiques. I didn't even notice that the first time. So the support of Excel betraying his AD carry by getting hit by that skill shot. And then you see a little sneak peek of what the rest of the game looked like, because Fnatic used this Ezreal and Yuumi just jumping on top of each other to find these closes, and the ridiculous damage they instantly killed Jeskla.
It's the power of that Infinity Edge. We brought it up in the Nemesis unit. Able to hit so many shots, and seeing Reckless jumping forward on Ezreal is a sight, but it feels like it's been an age since he was the aggressive AD carry. We saw it to fruition that game.
Yeah, he was going in. He was not slowing down. Once he saw that opening, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to keep going, and I will not stop. And ultimately, those two plays where Excel go for the inhibitor and Hylissang turned around are ultimately what got them the win.
It definitely was. Key Player of the Game vote is at Lola Esports on Twitter. You can go Whippo, Broxer, or Reckless. I think we all know who we're going for. It's the guy that made a training grounds video. It's the guy that excels on Lee Sin. It's the guy who played Ezreal that game. It's Reckless, right?
Whippo just smiled at me, though.
Oh,
so.
Whippo smiled at you. Okay, maybe we do.
Are you MVP? Do you think so? No. Okay, Whippo says he's not the MVP. Do not vote Whippo.
Yeah, you can't vote Whippo, but we are going to hear from him now. Law, take it away.
Thanks, Medic. And thanks, Whippo, for joining me.
Hi.
That could have been awkward. How do you go from smashing
It
G2
still is awkward,
yesterday?
I think.
Tell me about it. What happened?
Live and die by the early game, I guess.
Yeah?
I feel like, honestly, in our draft, we had a lot of stuff that we liked, but in the end, I don't feel like we had any lanes we could play on. And I think that's something we noticed as we were playing, and we're like, wait, we can't really gank the Corki lane, we can't really make a play on the Aatrox lane here, and we can't actually make a play on the Ezreal Yuumi lane either. So we felt like we were getting pressured everywhere, and we didn't really find a way to answer that pressure.
So nothing to do with the fact that you beat the team behind you yesterday?
No, I just think that, I don't think we had much cohesion going on in our draft, but it was just more like, oh, all these champions are like, they're safe, we like picking them, we should be fine, and then we actually realized during the game that, it didn't work out.
You won in the end. You're gonna have a big challenge ahead next week heading to LA for Rift Rivals. As we know, America is the land of the free, so which of these NA team is gonna be the most free on the Rift?
That's a good question. I mean, they're all pretty free. But if I had to put my my word on it, I think I have to.
You know what?
Oh yeah, I was thinking who the top laners were. Yeah, I mean, I'm down to get down and dirty with whoever wants to fight me. So whoever trades in lane is welcome.
You've watched LCS, I guess. So jokes aside, what do you think you can learn from the NA teams?
No, I mean, that's a good question. I just needed a moment to think. I'm sure there are things.
That's not BM at all.
No. I mean, I'm sure there are things. It's just a question that's a bit in-depth, and I'm not sure if I can find something I can learn from them immediately. Yeah, I think they're good at playing as a 5-man unit, so I think they have a thing for being as 5 people in one lane. So I think sometimes that's a good thing.
That could be a good thing indeed, especially when team fight.
Top lane expect going in on Nemesis.
Expect putting a lot of damage down onto Nemesis, and there's no escape from this.
I'm moving down, guys. I'm moving down. I'm there in 5 seconds. 4. Ezreal here. No E.
Nice.
Whippo locking in with the dark in play. The kills are going to rain down. How many of XL can get away? Whippo in the middle of it all gets expect. Cage will jump forward as well.
He has the teleport without the Baron, but whoa, they're going in!
Jessica! There's no package here on Nemesis. He might have just jumped into his demise. Jessica! Trick, boom! Goes the AD carry.
Cage goes in, he can't find it. The Fnatic are on a rampage. Whippo goes for Mystics. He gets the kill. Mickey falls. Fnatic get the win.
Fnatic bend, but they do not break. They're still undefeated.
Ready for the finals?
Experience the LEC Finals in Athens with Shell V-Power.
So I was first introduced to the world of Wonder when I was just starting out as a caster. Whenever Wonder was trying to battle this meme that he couldn't play tanks and that he could only play carries. And while they were able to get that amazing upset against RNG, from what I recall, it was too little too late. Things started to change when he joined G2. While again, Wonder was kind of drawing attention in the sense that he had these awesome outplays and he would have these really cool carry moments. The moment where Wonder drew attention to everyone was Worlds 2018.
Wants to pull him back. He's gonna get the fear off. Oh my God! And this is why he's considered one of the best top laners in Europe.
Progressively, the team gets better, and Wonder only seems to get better. And it stops becoming about can Perks carry, and it starts becoming about, oh, how well can Wonder carry?
He's made it back into the base, but Wonder flashes to the side. He'll be controlled, but never killed. And G2 finds their win.
For G2 Esports, the team that failed in the finals of spring. They failed in the playoffs of summer. They only just barely made it through Gauntlet. Now they're in game 3, and they're gonna make their way to the semi-finals! The G2 dynasty will be defined by taking down RNG!
They already got the pick onto the enemy jungler. Oh! So many people! That's the Aatrox damage! Killing spree over to rookie! IG clean house!
The moment that Wonder became a legend was actually the moment that he lost to the Shy. Him and G2 were thrown into the fire, and they kind of came out reforged as something stronger. So coming into 2019, he was like a different, revitalized player.
The re-engage from Wonder, he is just destroying Origin, and G2 ace Origin.
He's still only a carry top laner. He's one of the best carry top laners in the world, if not right now, the best.
But no, gonna get taken down, the triple kill. Coming through from Wonder, he may look to clean it up. He may just look for the penta. Wonder going to get forward, now going to look for the pit. Can he get it? Wonder, will he find the penta kill here? The quadra, the penta for Wonder.
Rise joins the top side, here they go.
All right, Abyssal Voyage, will or hit? Many hits off! Wonder forces game 5!
What we get to see is this top laner who now feels like the world is his oyster and he can play anything and everything.
And now the backside, here comes Demon Flare, and it's a double kill already. Team looking pushed completely off.
So you have this guy who's just having fun, he loves what he does, and he's pretty damn good at it.
Welcome back for our final game where G2 and Wonder face off against Rogue. And although today has been a day of upsets, we do have to reset expectations coming into this game. If G2 do not dominate this game, they will be disappointed.
Absolutely they will, especially after watching that video about Wonder. I'm so hyped for this guy, pulling out the pike, pulling out all the punches here.
Pulling out the pike, one of the 7 wonders of the world, of course.
Wonders
because they are facing up against Rogue. And Rogue, although they picked up as many wins this split as they did the entirety of spring, are still struggling at times.
Look, this is a team that I think is very excited with the progress they've already made from Summer Split, right? But this team now has its goal set on making playoffs. So making it so that they're not just an 8th place team or 7th place team, but breaking into that 6 and up. And specifically, we'll look at players like Inspired and Larson, the 2 newest rookies on this team, to prove themselves against the other talent here in the LEC.
They're definitely the players you are looking to step up. Larson's had a pretty stellar performance so far, much more utility focused as a mid laner, not mid.
Are just all in all control mages. He loves to play that style of champion that comes online a little bit later on into the game. So we'll be watching that to get into the draft.
What we will be focusing on right now is the draft between G2 and Rogue. We are going to kick it off, and we'll see what bans come out thick and fast as they usually do. Where are we looking? Karma expected to be taken off the cards. It's just too strong at the moment. Yuumi as well.
Look, Medic, I'll be honest with you. I don't care about the bans in this game. I just want to find out what G2 are playing, and even more importantly, where, because they seem to do whatever they want on any given day.
That's definitely true. We'll see what they do pick in this game. They're not going to take the Pike, I'm afraid. Rogue still want to win this game. As much as you might be excited by a Pike from Perks, Caps, Jankos, Mickey, or Wonder, they're not going to let it get through. The Sonataric bot lane is going to be quashed very quickly as well. We'll see where Rogue go with their next stage of ban.
I like it. G2 just removed the anti-fun champions. Speaking of those, the Karma, after the most recent buffs, I don't want to see that champion in any of my games, whether it's solo queue or on the LEC stage, especially because we know a team like G2 could flex that into basically every role.
We do other bans that we have seen a few times across the course of the day. Things like the Aatrox, incredibly strong. Even things like the Silas have been picked a couple of times. Nico, as always, a bit of a flex pick for these teams.
Yeah, Nico's a good one for Wonder, Caps, and Perks alike, but the Yuumi still is up and available. If that doesn't get taken off the board, I think G2 just go ahead and pick that one up themselves, because they can do a lot of fun stuff with that pick.
They definitely can. We've seen how oppressive it can be in the late game as well. Chase potential. I think they can because it's banned away. The Sejuani, though, still available for them, so they're going to hit you with that one. And what a hit it can be if Sejuani gets onto you. It's very difficult to get away.
Yeah, it's a boring tank, though, in my book. That's what I say. G2, stop picking the boring tanks. Give me the fun stuff.
I'm just saying.
Honestly, some teams be comfortable splitting up that duo, really favoring the Xayah here, especially after the buffs to Essence Reaver. A lot of champions like the Xayah and the Sivir in particular have risen up in priority.
And we'll see if they do round it out with the Rakan. Don't need to pick it on this phase, can just leave it up, get it before the second ban phase comes out. Instead, they will go for the Skarner for Inspired. Second time he's played that this split.
Yeah, so whenever we see Sejuani locked in, you always think melee mid lane champions. We've seen the Camille paired with it, not necessarily expecting that in this game, but those types of options here for Caps and Wonder alike could be very good pairs for the Sejuani.
Mickey's going to lock in the Lux. Very good into the Rakan Xayah because you can lock down pretty easily with a single light binding alongside something like the Sivir, who is just risen to priority, as we say, because of those Essence Reaver buffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to, let's say, the Draven Morgana into that matchup. You have a whole lot of damage, and when you land flashback picks...
yeah, that was a classic one. Of course, the Heimerdinger, referring back to Hjarnan, who played in 4G2 in 2018. The Alistair, not so much of a reference back. I think these are actual picks that Rogue are thinking about. They will lock that in. Like the aggression here, the lockdown from the Alistair onto a Lux is pretty strong.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a throwback here for Vander. I remember in summer of last year, that was his best champion on that Schalke roster, using that to roam around in lanes, and especially against vulnerable lanes here like the Sivir Lux. That is a very good matchup because, of course, the spell shield does not mean too much to that double CC combo of the Headbutt pull.
Yeah, not at all. It's very easy for the Alistair to get on the backline, and then when he roams around, can try and catch out some of those other lanes as well. Gives you a strong tank when it gets towards the teamfight phase. And now
Nico is one of those champions that G2 loves to play, especially Wonder up on the top side. One of our few on-hit Nico players still in the LEC, as a lot more people have shifted over to the Glacial Augment option. I think they just want to take away more strong solo lane flex pick tools from G2. They want to make sure they know what matchups they're going to be having so they can get a good counter pick for Larssen.
Yasuo, always a risk as well when you go up against G2. Caps plays it incredibly well. Perks can play it as well, and they are not too far dissimilar from, too far away from going for a lane swap. Maybe put Caps down towards the bottom lane if you really want to. Expecting G2 to start mixing up those lanes every single game these days. The Renekton gets taken away, and now Rogue have to blind pick one of their solo lanes. Azir is very safe. Corki could do a similar job as well.
Yeah, so we're wondering who gets the counter pick here on the side of Rogue. The answer is going to be Prof. And while we talk a lot about Larssen, how he has impressed us coming in as a rookie on this team, Prophet is by far the most consistent player on this roster. He has looked so good and is involved in so many of his team kills as well. He's a very important player for this team in the Rock of Rogue.
He is. We'll see where G2 want to go with their next picks. You do have that top lane left. The Akali locked in implies that's going towards mid, with this last pick being top, and it will be the Gnar for Wonder. We've seen how impactful he can be in the short video before the games. Played against SKT, was able to win the game for G2 and keep them alive at MSI, and now we'll see it once again.
Yeah, I think G2 hinted towards a potential Gnar pick with the Jarvan and the Renekton bans, two champions that with the jungler alongside them can look for all-ins against that relatively squishy mini Gnar. So covering their bases relatively well. I would love to see the Camille. In all honesty, this matchup, she can hard outscale into the side lane and offer a lot of kill threat onto the Gnar if you bring your jungler up there.
Well, they're going to lock it in for you, so we'll see if Inspired and Prophet can team up. You said he's the most consistent player on the side of Rogue. Well, give him a counter pick or give him a pick that scales well into his opposition and see how much impact he can have against G2.
There's a lot of cool things going on with this Rogue team composition, but in particular, the All-Star lock-in. It's a champion we don't see a ton of anymore, but it's a very reliable initiation tool for Rogue. We know Rogue love to play these easy-to-execute 5v5 compositions, and they have very good tools to do so, but also the option of leaning more on Prophet to take that Camille into a 1v1.
And on the side of G2, you've got a bit of pick potential. You've got the lockdown from the melee Akali and the Sejuani, of course. And you have the ability for Wonder to get ahead on this Gnar and have some big team fight changing ultimates.
Yeah, there's a lot of individual outplay there if we're looking at Caps in particular on this Akali, if he can access the backline, which is not very easy to do against the self-peel of Xayah and an Azir. He's going to have a much better game today on the Akali than he did versus Fnatic. G2 want to come away with a win.
Definitely prove that they are still amongst the top dogs here in Europe.
They want to get that win going into Rift. Rivals end on a high note here.
On to the Summoner's Rift, the final game of the day, the final game of the week as well, as week 3 is rounding up. G2 will want to end it on a win, of course, going into Rift Rivals, where they will face TSM, Team Liquid, and C9, and they will defeat TSM, Team Liquid, and C9. We have to hope.
I like it.
I'm an EU fanboy, and it's been known for a very long time.
And I think your predictions are relatively accurate. My analytical brain might say that EU has 100% chance of winning it at MS or at Rift Rivals.
Yeah, but I've seen your predictions today. You don't always get those sorts of things right. Both teams lining up, battle lines drawn along the river here. Wonder and Jankos will steal away the Spire, but it's not going to be too impactful. The Skarner happy just to get a Spire in his own jungle and then use the extra mana regeneration and movement speed to clear out these first few camps. If he'd been a little bit closer, he would have got that ward at level 1.
He would have loved it. He would have loved it, but no such luck in this one. I'm particularly interested in this game to, again, focus on the bottom lane, actually. On G2's side in particular, the Sivir Lux is something we saw in the last game that Excel piloted very well themselves, but it's been a little bit slower to adopt it into the LEC scene, as this has been around for a patch and a half now around the world, but it's a very oppressive 2 versus 2. You expect to be pushing up very hard in the individual matchup, and as long as they can avoid any ganks where the CC of Vander and Inspired could really give them trouble, this lane should just win out.
I want to talk a little bit about the runes as well, as we do see lethal tempo on Woolite down towards the bottom lane. Larson's running lethal tempo in the mid as well, and Prophet running Arcane Comet in the top lane on the Camille.
Yeah, so starting with Woolite down bottom lane, something you see a lot on the Xayah in particular is to start with the Q spell and then go lethal tempo, because you land the Q and then can use the lethal tempo to quickly push the wave. Now, in this matchup, I don't think it's super effective because of the double range advantage of having Mickey X just be able to walk up very freely and trade auto attacks here on this Lux, but it is something you can take home if you want to play some Xayah yourself.
Definitely is. One of the benefits, of course, of having a ranged support into a melee support is how easy it is to stack up that Spell Thief's edge, how easy it is to harass, and you can see Woolite and Vander giving a bit of respect over to Mickey and Perks. Although Mickey's taking some damage until Vander's level 2, there's no real kill threat here from the Xayah and the Alistar.
Yeah, but if Inspired continues to path down here, maybe there could be something. Not with a minion wave as large as this, but perhaps on the next one could be a good opening for Inspired, but we expect to see Mickey X and Perks back away after this wave, maybe drop down a ward, or just keep pushing because they're that confident.
You could just wait for the cannon to go down and then back away. Vander's going to go in here, only onto Perks, and he wasn't tanking the tower, so doesn't get too much out of it. You can see how much shielding that prismatic barrier gives as it comes back and forth across the AD carry.
Also important to note that Inspired will be going for a reset right now. It's very hard to make anything happen without the Predator, so he goes back to base, he gets his boots as well as the extra jungle item to help out his clear, and now he can perhaps look for a gank, maybe even topside, after he clears away those Krugs.
And let's talk a little bit about this top lane matchup as well, Ender. You said that the Camille hard outscales. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Vander's going to find the connection. The Ignite goes down onto Mickey, holding onto the heel. The flash, but Woolite gets first blood. Perks is going to try and trade it back with the boomerang. Vander standing off towards the side, almost has those cooldowns back up, so Perks has to be safe.
Very nice all in there from the Rogue bottom lane. Now Inspired is top, channeling the Predator, going in for the Gnar.
Wonder looking for the bounce here, trying to get onto Inspire. The Fracture doesn't connect, and there's the double bounce. Easy enough escape for the G2 top laner, but forced away from his wave.
I would have liked to see Rogue try to combo their CCs a little bit better, lead with the hook shot, the easier skill shot to land there, but Wonder will be able to get away no problem and avoid a potentially rough situation.
Let's have another look at this. Important to note the difference in support summoners. Ignite on the Alistar, heal on Mickey.
Also, the Q is blown right off the bat, and then Mickey still stands forward, so Woolite lands the root, which means very easy combination right there. Vander also having the Aftershock means he can go forward for those trades and win out overall with Woolite flashing forward to get the last hit.
And of course, Sivir, although she has a lot of wave clear early on, doesn't output the most damage for an AD carry, so quite hard for the for Perkz to trade back into that. However, still a CS lead for Perkz in the bottom lane. 10 farm up, he hasn't had to go back, has teleport to get back into the lane when he needs, and it's not too bad of a situation for G2, although Rogue will be very happy with the first kill.
Especially for Woolite and Vander, who have not had the steadiest of performances re-entering into the LEC here. You're wondering, you know, what can they do in this 2v2 matchup? You expect Perkz and Mickey to be able to win, especially given the combination of champions that they have. But we see that with the all-in, with the adaptation to take the All-Star here, they go in.
Woolite caught out. Vander tries to get onto Perkz, looking for the stun. Jankos on his way. Inspired's coming in as well. Vander caught out just a little bit as he has to back away, but Jankos now has been spotted by Inspired, can jump in. Straight onto Woolite. Inspired trying to get around this, but he's just dodging around the top of that jungle, unable to find his avenue into
Teleport
the fight.
down. Rogue are going for the kills here. Flash Inspired spell skill is good.
Straight in, Perkz uses the spell shoot just at the right moment. The counter teleport coming in here from G2, and now Inspired has overstepped. He's done. You have to feel this. Skill will be gifted over to Perkz. It is 2 kills across to G2.
It's teleports all over the place, but G2 come out on top. 700 gold lead after that play, and they continue to shut Woolite down.
And they're going to get an Ocean Drake off the back of it as well. This is so good for Wonder in that top lane, getting poked out by the Camille, having that Ocean, having that extra regeneration, just makes it so much easier for him to lane.
Just easier to stay in lane and continue to press your advantage there with that matchup. We see Woolite gets caught by the binding, as you said, fantastically done. And then he's taken solo. Rogue are thinking maybe we can turn it around because you see Inspired pass down, but he's seen on the shrine. So Jankos knows where he's at. He knows he backs away and is like, well, that's easy enough. Flash over the wall, get the CC, and the one auto for the kill.
I actually don't think Inspired ever spotted.
No, he didn't.
Jankos there. Larson comes in to try and help, but Perkz, you said, the great spell shield to dodge that stun.
Yep, very nicely done. TP comes in from behind. You can see Prophet says, look, there's nothing I can do. Even if I teleport in, you're still going down. So he holds on to his teleport, stays top lane farming up a storm, and maybe they can look for a response play in the future with that spell.
We'll have to wait and see. Vander has got the Hex Flash on this Alistar, so expect to see him trying to make some plays over walls. You can jump into lack of vision across one of those walls. It makes it very easy for you to find an avenue to gank, but G2, as you say, about 800 gold ahead. You've got the pickaxe, double longsword already completed on Perkz, and this early game looking strong from our champions.
From G2.
G2 are our champions. They won Spring Split, they won MSI. They're
Except
the
for when
world's
Fnatic beat them yesterday.
That is true. They were not the champions then. They're no longer the unofficial world champions, because that goes to Fnatic after they
Excel almost took the belt.
That's true. That was a very close one for Fnatic in the last game. Caps trading onto Larson in the mid lane. I do want to talk a little bit about the rune choice actually from Larson in the mid lane. Aletho Tempo and Comet are 2 runes that we see interchangeably on the Azir, but I know each one has its benefits.
Yeah, typically you see Comet when you're looking to dominate the lane and go for a little bit more poke, whereas the Lethal Tempo gives you that extra attack speed, which means very fast autos in the team fights. As now Jankos 3 members towards this bottom lane. They want to fight.
They can just go for the dive. On the hump hop, the heal as well, very early on. This dive was miscoordinated, but they weren't tanking the tower, so it doesn't really matter too much. They get a plate out of it. There's the stun lock. They're looking for it on Vander, but he's tanking it all up. Now Jankos tanking the tower. Gonna go down to the battle storm. Vander gets in as well. Perkz not taking tower aggro will keep him alive. That could have been awful for G2.
Yeah, Perkz can't auto attack or LT picks up the aggro because Jankos was already taken down. Big blunder there as Woolite hits level 6 and can use that ultimate to dodge away from the damage coming through.
Wonder goes into Mega here. Will he overstep? How aware is he that Inspired is waiting on the top side? Rogue fighting pretty well in this early game. Inspired there. Wonder gonna get slowed. The Hex Tech ultimate and pulls him back with the Gnar. He knocks back Inspired. Flashes away. Looking for the knock up here as Wonder gets into the mini Gnar form, and Inspired can't get close enough.
Oh, the Gnar ult away to stop an intentional impale from coming through. Gives Wonder the space to force the flash and get on out of there.
to summon the burnt, though, once again. Rogue actually fighting pretty strongly in this early game against G2. Although G2 have the lead, we're going to have another look at this dive in the bottom lane.
Yeah, let's watch it one more time, because look at this. Woolite is level 5 at the moment, but I think he gets a minion to die here, so he can tick over to level 6. Right as the ultimate comes out, the tower kills the minion. He hits level 6. Now he can dodge away from this damage, get the last hit. Also, Vander knocking up Perks to make sure that there cannot be any retaliation once the frontliner, the member of G2 that was tanking, falls down. Perks just has to run.
Yeah, you can see the weakness of Sivir into Alistar there as well. The headbutt pulverized combo will still connect even if you spell shield the W, so it's actually quite hard for the Sivir to escape in that lane. Blue buff going to be gifted over to Caps here in the mid lane. Just a bit of extra cooldown reduction there on the Akali always helps.
Definitely does. Now Inspired, he still has his ultimate. He'd love to make a play. I think bot lane for the next 30-40 seconds before Perks gets his flashback up is a good opportunity, but that window is going to be disappearing, so probably not going to have any luck down there. And once the summoner spells return for G2, they can look to continue to press their advantages down in this bottom lane. Even though they are dying, they still maintain a gold lead because of the massive CS lead that Perks has built up and their ability to just chip down those turret plates.
Yeah, and we've seen Woolite be forced quite far behind in CS before. I remember the Misfits game where he was 66 CS down at the 15-minute mark. This game already at 30, only 10 minutes in.
And the games look eerily similar, right? Because both junglers, Max Lore in that other game, Jankos in this one, are playing so much around this bottom side. They know they are vulnerable underneath the tower, and Inspired just simply is not playing towards this area of the map. Here we go.
Woolite caught out the final spark. He goes golden, but he's going to fall shortly after. You have to feel one more auto will be enough to Featherstorm the flash away.
Ooh.
He survived the Rogue bot lane doing absolute work. Eventually they fall. Jankos only just survives, and now Vander caught underneath the tower. Perks dodging out from turret range. This will be a lockdown. It's a double for G2, and it's a double for Perks.
Vander had nowhere to go. Woolite almost escaped, but G2 give them no room to breathe. That should be the tower in the bottom lane, while Inspired, stuck on the opposite side of the map, just says, hey, I guess I take a Rift Herald, but he will not be happy with that.
And this is what we expected from G2 coming into this game. Powerful early game plays, a 3,000 gold lead at the 11-minute mark. That's going to extend even further as Perks is gifted over this plate gold. He's now sitting at 5,800 gold. He's got 2,000 in the bank. He can get himself an Essence Reaver and start building up towards that Infinity Edge. Now, Inspired trying to do something as Caps comes across. Larson here as well. It's the 3v2 for the moment. Vander on his way. Inspired flashes in. Immediate Shroud from Caps. Hexagold made him use up towards the top side as they try and catch out Wonder instead. Caps decides to leave his top laner for dust. He's dead, but the rest of G2 are on the chase. The Rift Herald still aggroed here by Rogue.
G2 starting up the Scuttle Crab at the moment, trying to get some control over this river, but Rogue are not done. Just one more reset and it will go back. Jankos, will he take it?
The patience going down, but the eye is there. The final spark comes out. The resets just in time. Double Smite came out, but G2 won the fight. They're thirsty for blood. They're thirsty for kills, and they're hungry for a little bit of Rogue. The Ignite comes down on Prophet. He's going to tick away. Caps gets him. Vander caught out as well. G2 are just wiping away Rogue, and they're looking for even more.
More and more kills. Woolite tries to show up, but it is not enough. Jankos has the ultimate. Oh, does he get the slow? Is it enough?
The slow might be enough to chase onto Woolite. Loosen the light binding into the kill. G2 just sweeping through Rogue. There's really nothing that Rogue can do right now. G2 have come thirsty for blood, and they want to take this win.
And all in all, this is what we expect from G2. Come in, smash through the early game, business as usual. The start of this play is just a heartbreaker for Inspired. His ultimate, he starts it, but it gets canceled by losing vision inside of the Shroud. We speed through the kill, that was nice, but ultimately, G2 are just buying time because Umayan is walking through that bottom jungle, getting ready to come for the fight, and Woolite gets taken out very low once again.
Has to pop the Featherstorm. Perks and Mickey finding the connections with those skill shots. This top lane tower already down to only a plate and a half left as well, and all of that is going over to Perks. Prophet forced away by Wonder in a matchup that he should be winning, you have to feel. It's so good from Wonder so far with the Black Cleaver, and actually the Camille scales well. Right now the Nars in an okay position. I misspoke, I apologize, Ender. I saw you already ready to correct me. I corrected myself.
Good recovery. I'm glad you're self-aware right now, and Rogue are probably very aware that themselves are falling very far behind in this match. It's a 7,000 gold lead overall. It's a 3,500 difference between Perks and Woolite, and now we've reached a position where Inspired feels like he must give some attention towards Woolite, but it's too little too late. It means Prophet now doesn't have the attention he needs to be able to push up in that side lane. So all in all, wait a second, they're trying to make something happen.
Caps being forced back in, Inspired on the chase, will get the impale. Teleport coming in from G2 as they look to take the fight. Wonder in from the side, there's the final spark on 2, and now the rest of the team is here to party. G2 don't just take one, they take as much as they can. For the moment, that's not any more kills, but they might look for the tower.
Yeah, Jankos is sitting on the side here. Plates will go down, so it makes it much easier for them to knock out. Right now, Rogue have pushes top lane and bottom lane, but G2 will be able to break open the map with this.
G2 don't even go for the tower here. Everyone is scattered to the winds. They're
They
like,
just
oh,
want minions.
Wait, guys, there's a kill down towards the bottom lane. I know where we're going.
Yeah, just
Jankos
a big
and Wonder.
minion.
Laser guided here. The TP out from Prophet. Not going to be stopped in time. Prophet escapes, gets back to his base.
That's the most unfortunate teleport I've ever seen.
It's a SOAS.
It's a SOAS. But man, right now all Rogue can do is stay alive, and that's not easy because at 14 minutes, it's an 8,000 gold lead for G2.
Yeah, and guess how much gold Perks is sitting on in this top lane?
A lot.
He's got 3,500 gold in his back pocket. He already has an Essence Reaver.
He almost has half as much gold as the entire Rogue team has.
That is just disgusting. Wonder caught out here in the bottom side as Vander looks for the knock-up. Inspired on the chase, doesn't have the impale, the flash away, will still get stunned up. There's the follow-up stun with a fracture. Here comes Prophet looking for the chase, but Wonder's dodging around. Eventually, Wonder will fall, but it took 3 members of Rogue to do it.
All right, you know, honestly, Rogue are doing a good job playing from behind of finding picks. This we must praise them on because that's all they're going to be getting in this one so far as they send 3 people down for that one. Now, mid lane, we see Caps already used the Shroud, which means that Larson can make this play. And honestly, pretty disrespectful there from Caps. Without vision around him, he steps forward for some poke and then ends up paying the price for it.
Yeah, G2 do manage to get the kill onto Larson in the end, though. As you can see, Mickey once again landing a great light binding from the side. They don't take the tower, but they do just get the push here and force away the rest of Rogue. They just picked up the Rift Herald, so that's now sitting on Jankos. He'll look to use that probably in the middle lane to take down that mid lane tower, open up the map a little bit more, and 16 minutes in, this is looking like a classic G2 game.
The scariest part about this is usually it's between 15 and 20 minutes where G2 make the most of their gold.
Triple their gold lead between 15 and 20 minutes.
That's just ridiculous. They're obviously not going to be able to triple it in this game with a staggering 7,500 at the moment, but this is typically where they just continue to force fights at you, where they don't give you room to breathe, let alone think. And just looking at your map, you see the tendencies from that. You already have Caps inside the enemy jungle looking. When will Inspired or Vander walk through here? Can he get the kill?
Vander's just going to walk towards Caps, but I do want to bring attention to the levels here as well. And Caps level 11 already has that Mark II ultimate. Perks is 11 as well, joint highest in the game, sitting at 2.5 completed items on this Sivir. And if anyone steps near him, he's just going to crit them to death.
It's not that bad. Moonlight sells an Essence Reaver and a Punchy Glove.
Oh, good old Punchy Gloves. It's very difficult for Rogue to get back from this position. You do just have to praise G2, you know, at times, especially early on, Woolite and Vander actually had their number in the lane, but as soon as Jankos came across, as soon as they started getting that snowball rolling, they were able to do what they've done so many times before and just shut their opposition out of the game. It was expected, but you still have to do it. We saw how much of a challenge these lower tier teams can be in the last game, where Fnatic fell so far behind to excel.
Yeah, I mean, the way to beat G2 is you must attack them in the early game, and I don't feel like Rogue went quite fast enough. Bot lane, they tried their best, but ultimately, they lost the war of attrition. G2 out CS. They did more damage to the turret plates, picked up more gold globally around the map, and now we're just doing a picture-perfect close as they go in.
Oh, Jankos with the slide and glide. Catches Woolite once again. Perk steps forward, but Caps will take the kill. Rogue trying to defend their base, can't even defend their own lives. 2 more kills to Caps, that's a double for him.
Rogue's jungle belongs to G2 now. 4 members up top lane. They're going to get the turret. We're just at 18 minutes rather, as G2 looks speedrun another game.
Yep, this is exactly what they're doing right now, and Rogue have to find a way back into it. It's a very difficult task. Nigh on impossible, but they will be thinking about exactly how they can do something. Maybe a Baron throw, maybe a Baron fight from G2 where you just chuck everything at the wall and see what sticks.
I mean, the only thing left for Rogue is clear waves as long as you can. I heard something about, you know, CS win condition if your AD carry can get 500 or something like that. Azir obviously going to be looking towards 3 items before he can really come online, but G2 are not a team to give you much time to get to that late game. They just want to keep continuing to close out, and you see their vision so far pushed up in that enemy jungle. Rogue are going to have to do a good job of putting down deep vision if they want to try and have any idea where G2 are on the map.
So there's Cloud Drake about to come up. There's a Baron in a minute and a half as well. Those should be the next 2 objectives for G2. They don't need to break an inhibitor line yet because of that deep vision just allows them to take these objectives very easily. With Baron, it's a lot easier to take inhib, so you can just wait for that to come up and take it as soon as possible. Caps in a side lane is pretty much unstoppable. There's not really too much you can do about it, and Prophet still hasn't really scaled up on that Camille. No Trinity Force there yet. Should be
just picked that one up.
Oh, just got Trinity Force, so maybe has the advantage in the matchup versus Wonder.
Yeah, still though, without map pressure, it's very hard to turn an advantage, even in a 1v1, if that were to be the case, into any real tangible leads. You just can't chase someone down a lane for long enough without G2 being able to respond and punish you. Notice what G2 are doing. All 3 lanes now pressed forward as they split up 1-3-1 at the moment. Ultimately, they're going to be looking to play off of light bindings and ultimates coming out of Jankos. If they can land those crucial skills, they've got a whole lot of burst damage to try and get a pick and an objective to follow.
Big wave pushing in here as the second wave is about to join it. It looks like Wonder's just going to be left down in this bottom lane. Caps pushing in top. There's about an 80 CS lead for Perks on this AD carry. Once again, his Sivir performance has been exemplary. And the rest of G2 just clearing out vision, pushing forward, and making it very easy for Wonder to push forward in this lane. Here comes Inspired onto Wonder, but Wonder hops the wall, and Inspired can't chase through terrain.
Meanwhile, top lane, Caps going in. There's 2 TPs and a kill.
Oh, the kill already in. Perks takes it away from Caps' waiting arms. Wonder looks for the Gnar, but Larson flashes away, and now the inhibitor tower falls. They don't even need a Baron. They just take it with the split push. That will be the inhibitor shot to follow, and G2 are just demolishing Rogue. There's not really much bottom team can do.
Yeah, I'm not sure about sending Wu Light on the Xayah to match up against the Giga-fed Caps Akali. The inhibitor will go down just 20 minutes into the game. G2 have a mini wave up mid lane, pushed in, they land the binding, they get the damage on Inspired, and they're gonna try and knock down this turret.
That they are. Inhibitor tower going to fall pretty quickly, and G2 could just look for the win here. Caps jumping in onto Inspired, goes straight into the Shroud, and already Inspired's dead before you can even land the Impale. The Stinger doesn't have much poison in it right now.
The best part is he landed the Impale, but the 5-talent strike still came out and knocked him down, so Caps gets the kill. Here we go.
This is so much more like the G2 we wanted to see. Yesterday against Fnatic, they were pinned back, but today they come out swinging. Nothing will stop them as they look for the kills on the Fountain, just forcing Rogue back. The Nexus Tower's not even in their eyes. Caps hungry for blood, hungry for kills, gets his 5th of the game. Mickey flashing forward, trying to catch them out on the Fountain. G2 so close to this win.
The death spawn, or the respawn timers are so short, Inspired's already back up. The damage still comes through though. G2, is this another picture-perfect fountain diving game? That's the only question I have left to ask, Medic.
Just waiting for the super minions to push in so they can take the Nexus Towers if they want. They'll take it, and then they'll look for the fountain. They're always hungry for kills if they can get them. Rogue waiting for the respawn of Warlight. He's up in 9. Prophet jumps onto the back line. It's only on towards Wonder, and Prophet is done for. Perks with the crits, with the ricochets, just bouncing bullets off Rogue onto other members, and there's not really much this Rogue squadron can do. Inspired forced back onto the fountain. The rest of Rogue will shortly follow him, and G2 are looking for some more kills.
I think we're going on to the fountain. Wonder gets the Gnar, baby.
Wonder with the Gnar onto Inspired, who goes golden. Perks is shut down, but now G2 may focus the Nexus instead. Caps trying to do what he can. The Nexus will fall, and G2 take their 5th win of the split.
G2, they picked themselves up after their loss yesterday, and they come in business as usual, taking down Rogue in just 22 minutes, looking very clean overall, and looking confident going into Rift Riders.
Very confident. That was a very strong performance from G2. Rogue didn't really get an opportunity to punch back, no opportunity to answer, and maybe in the early game down towards that bottom lane, things could have gone a bit differently, but sometimes you're just outmatched.
Look, Rogue, they got some kills, they made some good plays to pick it up, but Ultimate 2 are so good at it.
G2 just look very strong right now. As a note, Grabs will be joining Quickshot and Betties on PGL. Going to be talking about Rift Rivals, and I'm sure about the game today as well. Looking forward to that one. Grabs always has some interesting insight on the squad. I believe last time people tweeted at him from his team and said,
an important international event coming up, Medic.
Rift Rival, yeah! I'm in the show match for that. And I just want to say, they put Kobe in the jungle versus me in the jungle, and I'm a support man.
Bro.
It feels like NA kind of, you know, they rigged the teams a little bit because they knew they weren't going to win.
All I'm saying is if they wanted it to be a fair... Actually, I'll take that back. They wanted it to be a closer fight. If I was in that game, I don't know. I think I just...
But overall, just a strong performance from G2. No real surprises from them. The rest of the day, though, was full of them. XL almost taking down Fnatic. I was hoping you'd come in with another one.
Schalke beat Misfits. I didn't think that was that big of a surprise, but everyone else voted against them. So definitely showing up and coming out with a very strong performance. I just thought today was really interesting League of Legends overall.
And Vitality beating SK at the start of the day as well. I think a lot of people would have thought that was a surprise. Vitality looking much more like their former selves. Strong performance from them.
And the coolest thing is that after today, we had some surprises. We saw the unexpected, right? And now these teams have 2 weeks to go back, especially some of our teams like Vitality on the upswing, while teams like G2 go and dominate NA at Rift Rivals. These other teams can look to improve and come back stronger in week 4.
That they can. I believe Law's setting up for an interview with Jankos in a moment, so we'll hear from the G2 jungler in just a second. But before that, make sure you vote for your Kia player of the game at Lolly Sports on Twitter. This Jankos, Perks, or Mickey, who are your options. And I think really any of them could get it. I would give it to Perks personally. I think he had a very good performance, but Jankos really set him up for success, and Mickey was Mickey. You know?
Just flip a coin.
Yeah. A 3-sided coin.
Just flip a 3-sided coin, baby. That's how I figured it out.
Oh, those triangular coins that are so popular. How many triangular coins have you seen in your life? I'm sure they've existed at some point in time. Maybe
more than you'd expect.
Old school Roman
More than
days.
you'd expect.
For now, to get us to stop talking about coins, we're going to hand it over to an interview. Law, take it away with Jankos.
Thank you, Medic, and thank you, Jankos, for joining me after the game. Nice comeback from yesterday. We have to talk about it, you know that. So what went wrong against Fnatic yesterday?
Well, I mean, I think Fnatic and especially Broxa played really well. I think the lane swap was not very good from us because it didn't pay off as it should have. And also I felt like the draft could have been a bit better. And it's not about the picks because we could for sure win with the picks we had. But I felt like we didn't really prepare for Fnatic as well as they prepared for us.
I want to hear your thoughts on something. I think that when you spend so much time winning, losing actually becomes necessary. Do you agree?
I mean, I think that we should thank Fnatic for beating us because it would be really sad if we would come back to Europe and no one would challenge us. I think that would mean that the region is just not very good. I think teams challenging us, beating us, hopefully more teams will beat us in the future, as weird as the team seems, makes you better. Also, it helps you not being complacent. So I'm pretty happy with the loss that we can actually, you know, try to improve.
I agree, and then you don't become too cocky, saying things on stream that maybe you shouldn't say.
I mean, honestly, I still back it up. I think that if we meet them in BO5, there is no hope.
We'll see about that at the end of the split, hopefully. Now you'll be heading to LA, as I said to Wipo before, after his game, I'm sorry. Which team are you looking forward to face here?
Honestly...
Or players?
I mean, I would like to play against Team Liquid because I still think they are a really good team, even though they lost some games in NA. I still rate them highly. I would like to play against One Thieves because of Proli, but they will not.
That's not happening.
Yeah, that's not happening. And then Prey, TSM, Cloud9, all of those are kind of like similar. I think the teams in NA are fine. I think they go mid a bit too much, you know. Seems like they don't always know what to do. But I honestly think that it'll be really exciting.
You know what? I spent so much time trash talking NA in the last interview. I want to have positive thoughts about NA. So what is so great about NA? What can you say about the teams?
Food is good. And weather, maybe. About their players, though, I mean, I think they are the second best GG in the world. They play good game. I mean, I don't have a lot of positive thoughts because I don't watch NA a lot. I watch only like the, let's say, the best games, or like the best orgs maybe, because I mean some of the orgs like Team UK are not like the highest right now, but they're still really good. So I think they play good, you know. I think they can challenge us. I think the top 3 NA teams are probably like, maybe not as good as, you know, Fnatic as an Origin, but it's going to be fun to beat them.
What's up with players and NA food? Because every time you guys are there, the only thing you talk about is food. So I don't get it.
Oh, I mean, you should try them. Like, it's really insane. I mean, it's really some of
French,
it
you
is
can't
really
say that.
unhealthy, but the sushi is so good, and like the burgers and everything. It's just, I know the food is so good. Like, I think the most fun time I have in an A is when I eat food.
Well, then enjoy the food and enjoy Rift Rivals. I hope you will make us all proud. Thank you for the interview, Jankos. And to wrap up the day and this week, we're gonna send it over to PGL. Take it away.
And welcome back to the LEC post-game lobby. I'm Quickshot. I'm joined here by VODs and G2's coach, Grabs. First of all, Law, that was a fantastic interview, and I love that you asked Jankos to be careful what he says on stream, because it didn't come true. Grabs, do you ever have words with your players about some of the things they say in social media, or do you just find it fun?
I think it's funny. Like,
Yeah.
for me, important is only the mentality they have during scrim time, so as long as they're serious there, I don't mind what to say on stream or on Twitter.
I'm actually really happy you said that, because it makes really good TV. It really makes like everything a lot more fun, and you get to have these banter moments.
in a nutshell.
Also, if I don't do that, then Carlos is back in my DMs and tells me to let me fun. So yeah, how about that one?
Okay, so we'll focus on the game a little bit. Like 22 minutes. I don't think it was a big surprise you guys beat Rogue, but VODs, what was your take on just how clean and how well G2 played?
I mean, it wasn't super clean. I saw that dive bot lane, boys.
Yeah.
I will say that it did feel that G2 do what they often do, and they get a little bit annoyed after a loss, and they take it out on the next team. It definitely felt like Caps had something to prove with his Akali, which is very much like, yesterday was a mistake on my part. I need to show the world that my Akali is actually good, and I think he had a better game today.
I also think Caps never was as silent as today. So I agree with you. I think he had like a little mission on his own.
I'm a little bit sad, because when VODs was chatting, it was on a single cam of his face, and Grabs' reaction was basically, you know, how did the team respond after the loss? Obviously, we spoke to Caps and PGL yesterday, but what was the mood like on the shuttle back and today?
Just disappointment, but not about the loss, but how we played. Because, I mean, we know we should be the better team. We made it too easy for them to win, especially in the early game. So we knew probably a loss would come, right? The 8-0, of course, you wanted to do it, but it's hard, especially of how we play the game and how cocky our players sometimes get. But just the way we lost was disappointing. But again, we're not going to change our ways. We're going to keep being the same team, having fun in game, and it showed today it kind of can work as well.
So the one thing I also want to say is that we often talk about G2 as this team that's like not an early game team, but something I actually speak a lot to Grabs band, something I praise him for. I don't know why I don't praise Jankos, but I actually think Jankos' early game is like one of the best that we have in the league. And his ability to generate pressure and control the map is actually very impressive. But usually it doesn't always result in like overwhelming gold leads or like massive snowballs. It just feels like he's a very patient player, and he seems to track and control the early game very, very well. But I'm curious as to what happened yesterday. Why wasn't that Jankos there yesterday, and why did it feel Broxah kind of had his number?
He was the same Jankos. Like, Jankos basically is a map hack. Like, he's that good in most games. It's just that even though he gave information, the people did not listen really.
I see.
So, for example, we full know that they leashed both side. Like, Gragas will be top side. Caps, of course, died already level 1.
Yep.
And then wasn't prepared for the dive. So I felt like we kind of knew where they can be, or Jankos knew, and he gave the information, but people played a bit more disrespectful than usual.
That makes sense.
For example, one time Wonder also in mid lane when Gragas could be there, and Olaf is nearby, but not around. So, yeah, just a happy game, like my G would say. It didn't go away.
Caps actually specifically called that out after the fact, and he was saying how, you know, playing long lane, I made a few mistakes. Maybe I should have thought about the lane. Being very deliberate with his word choice. But, of course, that was a loss yesterday. Today was the win against Rogue. We do have the key player of the game. It was Perks. He picked up 49% of the votes, adding another one to his tally. So congratulations to Perks. I want to talk about some of the other results today, because a few of them were quite surprising. And I'd like to start with Fnatic versus XL, and start just considering, like, first of all, how well XL played early, and maybe how well or how lacking of focus maybe Fnatic were, because there's two sides. Did you manage to get most of the game? Because I know you guys arrive as they're playing, right?
Yeah, we had like the draft meeting and everything during the early game, so we kind of turned on the TV and was like, what, 1-9?
Yep.
We're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? But at the same time, and that's what often happens with the lower end tier teams that they don't know how to close the game. And we could see that they really struggled on how to approach the siege. Therefore, we were not too surprised of Fnatic still turning it around. And I mean, Exo just made very clear mistakes. I don't think they get too often into that situation, so I can see why they have issues.
I mean, Reckless had an absolute stand-up performance alongside Hylissang with the Ezreal Yuumi. They got a number of kills around the inhibitor, bought a lot of time, stalling the further push. I mean, Vedius, how did you read that game? Because I bought into the hype. I actually kind of wanted XL to take down Fnatic, and I wanted the storyline.
I mean, the irony is Fnatic did a lot of what G2 did in their game against Fnatic. Because we saw Nemesis dying 1v1 top. Seems like that, wait, Poppy can do this much damage, and this is how it works. And Expect had a fantastic laning phase. They died 2v2 bot. Because Hylissang made some uncharacteristic mistakes, and then Bwipo was getting ganked in mid. So I just felt like I agreed very much with what Bwipo was saying in his interview, where he was like, we didn't have very many options in the early game, but I also felt like there were a lot of individual mistakes, and maybe Grabs can confirm this for me, but when you have a very important game, combined with a game against a bottom tier team, you usually put more prep into one team than the other. And so in my opinion, Fnatic put a lot of focus this week onto G2, and then coming into XL, while I can imagine they still did prep, it was just that was not
Also,
their focus.
The quantity, the quality. I mean, the priority is taking down the MSI champions, being the undefeated
I'm not going to say that for certain because I don't know what Fnatic's prep look like.
Safe bet,
but like I would say that coming into that game, they expected they were heavy favorites, and so they showed an element of disrespect, and I think that they got caught off guard multiple times by XL.
They ended up winning, of course, showing the caliber. I want to turn to the fact that Origin lost to Splice. Now, Origin's one of the teams that's going to Rift Rivals and then being taken down by Splice. I watched that game and I see a lot of similarities in how these teams play and their approach. I still felt that Origin are a slightly better team with slightly better players, but today wasn't the case. So, you know, are you surprised seeing that Splice can take down Origin, and Origin also had a slightly sluggish game yesterday?
I just think it came down to Origin opting for the Draven Morgana. And it goes that simple. You should win the bot matchup, but if Patrick, like I think, got cut out, like completely alone topside one time, didn't snowball the lead, and of course Sarah Khan will be strong in team fights. So I think just Origin went a bit more aggressive in the draft than it usually would. It didn't pay out for them, and then Splice, of course, in a comfort zone, having good scaling as well. So, but yeah, as you said, like Origin is a bit slumping right now. It feels like it. We actually thought, of course, that Origin and Fnatic will be the two best teams coming into it. But they didn't progress from what the finals, it feels like, for now. They still have this very thought out plan, but they're still not good at reacting to something else. So if something comes up that they didn't anticipate, they struggle. Luckily, we play against an A, so they're not really good at surprising people. They're more like being 20-minute mid lane. So I think they will be fine.
What's your
Grab
take?
said it, not me. Grab said it.
Hold on, because actually I want to go deep dive on Rift Rivals a little bit, but I mean, let's stick with like OG this weekend. I was still pretty happy with OG coming into the week.
Nah, but like you can't be because they were second last split.
Yeah, but
and you can only assume that they would get better.
How close was their fight with Fnatic and G2 over
Yeah, but like the problem I'm having with that argument now is that like sure they had fine games, but now I'm putting it more down to Fnatic made mid-game mistakes and G2 took fights that they shouldn't have. But it was more down to their opposition playing poorly rather than Origin looking that good. And so while I definitely think on an individual level, Alfari and Patrick are better than what they were as a team what they were individually last split, I think their teamwork is still the same as it was last split. And in my opinion, that's not okay because they can't have the same slump at the beginning of the split that they had last split when, let's say, G2 wasn't in the league, right? And this super team that we now have wasn't there. They would have been our representatives at MSI. And, like, not showing growth in that period of time is surprising to me and a little disappointing. So I expected a lot more from Origin.
Is that something you agree with, Grabs? You know, when you look at this team that makes it all the way to finals and now comes into the week, we've got 3 weeks, 6 games under their belts. Did you expect more from them, or is this just the ceiling of the team?
The way I see it, it's really hard because to improve, you get pushed. And their playstyle wins them most of the games against lower-end tier teams, so middle table team. So I think the only teams that can punish them right now consistently would be us and Fnatic. And if they don't scrim us for a long time, then it's hard for them to push. Like the same thing we are kind of afraid of because we came back from MSI, we felt tired, but we like we completely rolled over teams in scrims. So you could kind of see yesterday the same mentality of saying, whatever we do, it will be fine. We still win the game, and suddenly we don't. So I think they kind of have the same issue. Like they're still a good team, right? They still have the fundamentals down. It's just the small things. And them losing and being aware, okay, this is not how we can actually win games, will help them in the long run. So I think it's better for them to struggle now and still have like 6 weeks to play than later in the split.
I actually have to ask a question though, because watching Fnatic take you guys down yesterday, if we'd swapped the name tags and turned nameplates off in game, you would have said, yeah, that's G2, that's how we play. It's rare to see your team get run over in that fashion.
Is it though?
Is it though?
PvP happened twice.
I mean, they also lost the game to Team Liquid.
Okay,
and
domestically, shall we say, right? But the main thing is like, how much more can you learn from that, especially the fact that it was Fnatic, that it was this team that hasn't really been able to do that all year long, you know, going back to the drawing board.
But I also, to add on to that, you actually did the same thing against Fnatic the last time you met, because Caps was 0-5. So, like, if you're telling me that you learned, I mean, you obviously got better from that point on.
Is he a sleeper agent? No. But
I mean, he tweeted after all those times, so maybe he is. But to be fair, like, these kind of games don't teach you something. It just teaches you that you can't do the same thing over and over again, because you have to go back to your to the roots and go back to earth a bit. And don't think you can win every game just by being better, because that's not how the league works. That's not how league works. So yeah, it doesn't teach us much about the game itself, more about the mentality. So the same thing happened last year around. We had Promiscu playing there, and even their Fnatic didn't look convincing. I think for yesterday, it sounds really weird because they're a strong team, but I didn't feel like they played that well, just us inting. Of course, it's something you can spin both ways.
Yeah, it's perspective.
Exactly.
You can defend the viewpoint of both sides.
So we don't feel that threatened. I think, as we said, we lost Liquid as well in group stage because I inted in draft, but my players are used to that one. So yesterday, there were some arguments as well around that. So I think in a best of 5, if you can adapt, then I think we should still like win 3-1 convincingly.
I like that today.
And to be fair, that is something that Grab said a lot to me at MSI, where he was like, a lot of people think that we're a really good best-of-1 team, but in actuality, we think we're a better best-of-5 team because we have smart players and we have deep champion pools, so we're quick to pivot and grow. And to be fair, they went 6-0 in their last playoff games, and they only got faster after each game.
Oh, I know, to 74 minutes in 70 minutes at MSI.
So, like, I will give Grabs the benefit. Like, in a best-of-5, it would be difficult to vote against G2, but you can't take anything away from Fnatic. And I, as a European fan, I'm just happy that we have 2 teams that seem to be fighting at the top of the table.
Do you know when the next best of 5 is? Do you know that when we're going to play?
I believe
another...
it's next week.
What's happening there?
We'll be playing in North America.
Next week, G2, Origin, and Fnatic will be traveling to Los Angeles. They will be representing Europe at Rift Rivals. The tournament will be starting on Thursday. It's G2 versus Cloud9. I want to get your take, first of all, on how much fun we're going to have, how much vacation time.
Also, I like this at the beginning of Ready Check, I was like, there's no way we're going to lose any games. And then I watched today's games, and I'm like, I wish the backdraft.
The question I asked you was, what can we expect from our EU teams? And your answer in sort of one line was...
that we would go undefeated.
You've had 5 and a bit hours. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Does North America have a chance, Vedius?
Yes, North America definitely has a chance.
It might be that we're inting, but since Fnatic and OG didn't have the national experience this year, they're going to try hard and they're going to carry us, worst case.
Okay.
But in normal case, even with Mickey SID and perk support, I think we can win against NA. So.
Oh, my word.
To be fair, Fnatic has already beaten you to the role swap, to be fair, so...
Beaten to the role swap. We'll get to that in a second. Look, we've got some clips over here of TSM, Cloud9, Team Liquid, the 3 teams are going to be playing. I know, obviously, as you don't prep for these teams, right? And you're not going to watch them as analytically as maybe you will now over the next couple of days. What's going to be driving you and the players outside of just beating North America, right? I know it's show matches, it's exciting, it's single round robin, so you guys will be playing each of the teams. So, you know, what is on the line? What's at stake for you and the team?
We're in our spot right now, and I mean, Panther said, of course, those 3 teams are strong, right?
Yes.
So, our memes aside, David should, of course. Especially Liquid, even though we beat them 3-0, I still think they're a very good team. Especially if they get a good draft for themselves, which they didn't do in the final. For us, we're kind of in an odd spot right now because I feel like, we feel like a bit tired. I know there's a meme about being tired, and we didn't have a real break after MSI, and there's no surprise that Liquid, IG, SKT, Flash also all struggling. Like IG won today, but they still don't play their best, right?
Yeah.
And we feel the same. Like we're still in the same like MSI phase, basically.
It's the MSI hangover.
Yeah, we didn't have a closure actually. So it's good for us to have at least a week break afterwards. So I can't promise that we're gonna be like 100% prep and full tryout in those games. Of course, we want to win though, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're G2. We want to entertain the people. And that's something that's going to happen for sure. If it then ends in a win or in a loss, I don't know.
really appreciate your candor and honesty in that response. But what's your expectation then for Fnatic and OG before we jump in there, Vedis? Like, do you think these two teams that didn't go to MSI, that don't have the bragging rights that G2 Esports does, do they go in there and absolutely try hard for their lives and really try to show up? I mean, is that what you'd anticipate?
I think none of the teams really do because there's a competitive disadvantage if you show too much. Because this is what happens last year when we came back. I think the MSI teams went 1-5, and the only win was because players played Fnatic. So other teams are watching you. You give them something to learn. And bragging rights are nice. The thing is, like, what I really don't like is the format.
Okay.
Because the first 3 games don't matter at all. It's a best of 5 afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So it's really hard to motivate yourself for those first 3 games. So probably against TSM, Luca will want to win because it's Sven there, you know? But afterwards, it's kind of hard to feel like, okay, why are we actually tryharding here if the best of 5 is the relay race is the important part of the tournament, right? Because nobody will care if you go 6-0 in groups, but then they win the best of 5. So I expect the first 3 games to be a bit more sloppy from each team in A as well, and then the best of 5 will have higher quality. I think, but as I said, the 10 players of Fnatic Origin didn't have a chance to show themselves on the international stage. So that's a small tournament for them to actually show how good they are. So I think it's not going to be hard for them to motivate themselves.
I mean, I like the Sven angle that you bring up because not only for Luca and for Perks, but also for Mithy going up against his former bot laner on the Origin side. It's a story that I'm personally excited to watch.
Yep.
I mean, Vedius, what's your take then, and your expectations maybe for some of the North American teams as well?
Well, Grabs.
Don't redirect. I asked you the question.
I know.
What is this?
I know. But you gotta bear with me
My
for a
players will
second.
say I'm gonna talk too much, please.
No,
like, you have to talk
no.
now.
He has all I know is right. Grabs likes to tease, and Grabs told me that they have a bunch of champions prepared, right? And then we coming into the split.
Why are you leaking his stuff?
No,
I just talked about disadvantages, and he's like saying that.
I don't know what they've prepared. All I know is they have all these champions prepared. For all I know, they can play every. When I speak to Perks, he's always like, I can play every champion. So what does that really tell me, right? Right? But what I'm curious about, right, is because we like to sprinkle in the 7 wonders of the LEC. And now I'm wondering if we might get to see another wonder.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude. I tried to stop
I am not
him.
prepared for that one.
Yeah?
Listen, let's turn our attention to one other thing, right? There's one other thing that will be happening. It is going to be a very, very special show match. Okay, we've got some golden oldies, relics, pieces of furniture, apparently former pros. These 10 players will be taken to the Rift, Grabs. Youngbuck, Medic, Ocelots, Peke, and Deficio taking on Westrise, Kobe, Reginald, Dyrus, and Lick. We've got a few role swaps in there. I love the fact that Ocelot will be playing mid. By the way, I'm assuming this is just the roster, right? And Peke will be playing bot. That's going to be something special.
I think there was a tweet about also wants to go bot lane.
Also wants to go bot lane so that he doesn't have to see Peke.
He wants to like harvest energy of Umajan.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it'll work out, but if I see that in a roster, I'm not too worried.
Yeah, NA roster's good.
And but now, is this just Kobe? Like, are you just looking at Kobe, Dyrus, and like hoping?
No, but I know Restrice probably still plays like every now and again, and even if you don't play for a long time, like it's not hard to get back to Diamond if you were once like higher than that.
We have Peke and AD. Do you remember how that went? And
I have no confidence in this European team at all, Trav. This, I can tell you, it's Heimerdinger top, Sejuani jungle, it's Ari mid, it's Sivir and Zyra. That's the comp they can and only will play.
You're giving me a good idea for
like that, you know, like Youngbuck was the Heimerdinger one trick. Medic, if he has to jungle, the only 2 he can play are the ones that I've had to teach him. And then, like, the last time I duo queued with Ocelot, well, that was an experience.
I love having some fun with this one. And Grabs, I do need to ask you a very professional, like, as a coach perspective. Do you remember watching Deficio when he was playing on Copenhagen Wolves? Do you remember back in 2013?
I wanted to say I'm kind of worried with an OG bot lane, two OG players. And if they play like the team, then we might have trouble. But...
Okay, right. Now, I'm glad you bring that because Deficio likes to pretend with rose-tinted glasses that his summer split performance on Nami and Zyra back in 2013 was the best. He says some nonsense about having like a highest KDA and whatnot. I mean, was he a good player? I mean, I know the answer is no, but I want to know how bad was he?
I mean, I was a fan back then even, so I didn't even...
No, you buy
No, not of him, of the game.
Oh,
no. Like, don't go too far. No. Like, back then, I had certain aspiration of becoming pro, so I watched the games like kind of on the sidelines, so I'm not too sure how good he was.
Well, obviously, it didn't stand out if you don't have any memories. That's all the proof I need, right?
Pretty much. I'm sorry, Martin, but...
Don't apologize, he deserves it.
I spent a whole season duo queuing with Deficio. We had like a 70% win rate. I will say he's a good Zyra player. I'll give him Zyra. That's it.
He likes to think he was good on Nami.
He's 100% not good at Nami.
Can Steve buy the win? Joke didn't land. Right. That's it for Rift Rivals, and we'll be starting next Thursday. I do just have one more topic I want to discuss that's a little bit freeform before we move on to close out the day. Earlier, before the Fnatic game, I did a special segment that I doubt you would have caught grabs. But Reckless, he got himself 1,486 kills leading up to today's games. Now, he picked up another 4 today, so technically, he's at 1,490 kills, 10 away from 1,500. And the animation that you're looking at, Grabs, is all of the professional players that have made it into the top kills leaderboard since we've been tracking the stat all the way back in 2013. It will be wrapping up very, very shortly. And I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about what this top sort of 10 looks like. Because look, Perks joins the league, only been here for what, 3.5 years. He's already in the top 5.
Gankos is second.
Tower of Evil. Seven is still in sort of our top... Froggen is still in our top 10 kills. This is just in European professional games. And he hasn't played yet in years.
To be fair, if you buckle it down to minutes played, I think Froggen will be not that high. They had some 80-minute games all the time, so I can see why it many kills. I for sure will hear a lot about Jankos being so high because he will be like bragging about it. So I really hate this graphic. Caps is also already breaking in there.
Isn't that terrifying? 680 kills and he's been 2.5 years in the league, if that.
Wait, when did Perks join? 2016?
2016 spring.
So he's now 3.5 years.
There you go.
So he's gotten 300 more kills. No.
2/3 of Perks kills.
Yeah, 2/3 of Perks kills, 1 layer less. So there you are, Caps. You've got to get another 230 kills.
I think it's also important to note, right, that over the years the metas have changed a lot, number of kills. I think the pace and the number of kills has been slowly ramping up. I think if you were to equate many, different leagues, metas, and seasons. But I mean, I was surprised when I looked at this. Vizichachi, Hyonan, and Power of Evil are names that caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to see them, but Kabi, when I think of his performances, Pekka and Nuke Duck, none of those were surprises to me. Are there any that stand out for you, Grabs?
Let me check. Pekka's pretty high actually still.
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising.
He was very good for a few years at the beginning of EULCS.
Yeah, I know.
I chose my words there very carefully.
He's very good for a long time.
I just want to see, I don't remember how much more, how many seasons Odoamne and Chachi have over Caboshot. Because that they're above him kind of surprises me. And I reckon it will change over next year, probably. That Caboshot will catch up.
I mean, Caboshot joined 2014 with Gambit, wasn't it? Whereas Odo and Chachi, I would assume, joined around the same time, if not a little bit before.
Yeah, I would need to double check. My memory's a little bit hazy on that one. But nevertheless, Reckless got himself 4 more kills. He's 10 away from 1,500. So that's just a little fun one that I wanted to get back on the broadcast. We're going to move on to the Kia Player of the Game leaderboard. Perks is currently number 1, followed by Vizichachi as well as Broxer. It is important to note that in the event of ties, the player that has received the highest percentage of votes will be coming out on top. I think Perks won Kia Player of the Game earlier today, so he's sitting up there. Only one G2 member up on the top list. I mean,
to be fair, we only have 5 wins.
Yeah, I mean, Broxer and Reckless 2 and 2. Vander sitting at 2, so he's one with a higher percentage.
What's important to remember about Player of the Games is that when you win a lot, if it's due to multiple different people, then they obviously get split around a lot, right? Which is why you have Broxer and Reckless on here, right? However, when we had SK, all of their wins came from a single player.
Yeah.
So Selfmade was sitting at the top of the board for a really long time, right?
Yeah.
So if anything, it's pretty good for G2 because it means that they have a lot of potential carry performers. But for Splice, it's also important to note that Vizicachi has made a lot of those massive highlight plays, right? Like the Cannons and the Nars and the Poppies as well. So like, player of the game, in my opinion, tells you nothing, but it is always fun to look at.
It's a fan vote, and fans, we love that you vote. We're going to be closing out week 3 soon, so let's get another look at the best moments from the Rift in our Alienware big plays. Starting with top laner Sacre. He's making headlines in his first LEC split yesterday on Gnar. He proved that he was indeed SK's missing link.
But Isfits are retreating. Crown shot caught out. It might be enough damage to take him down. They can't even kill the AD carry when he's caught out, when he's out of position. Misfits do not have the damage. True shot barrage coming in as SK look to push down mid.
I don't know if they're going to be able to secure this tower. They did take a little bit too much damage. Close stuff there, but they're looking for the kill anyway.
With the Gnar. Oh, indeed. Forbid for TPs. And that's the story of Misfits right now. Not coordinated, not alive, and they're not winning this game.
It's fine. We can still do it. Okay, nice. Come to me. I can give a share.
Well played.
Ganesh.
Nice one.
Sacre, what the Focus.
Javan has TP, okay? Javan has TP.
Oh, I love the team reaction, Benny.
I just love that Sacre didn't say anything. He just did it. And then at least I couldn't quite tell, but it looked like that he didn't say anything and just went for the play, and then the rest of the team followed up. Very similar to what Caps did not too long ago, where one was like, I think we can turn this.
I think it's hilarious that he just walked up there. Like, there was no flashy plays, no E-jump. It just he walked up to the wall. They walked into him and the form and ulted them. So I think he was kind of surprised that it did work out the way, honestly.
Well, it worked out amazing. I think I won him key player of the game yesterday as well. We've discussed a lot around who has the best pike in LEC.
Oh, no.
After yesterday, there's no more room for debate. Hylissang is the king of the ocean.
A lot of these plates in the middle lane, but it's not actually allowing G2 to gain any.
There's no way you should be able to hit that. Cap still able to get away, but Hylissang on the chase couldn't quite land the Tiamat. Hylissang, he's vying for the best pike in Europe. Cap straight. No way! Through the heart of our Spring Split MVP.
Run soon and group mid and pop Herald.
Maybe. Predator roll off. They're hunting me, maybe. They're looking for me. I don't know what's going on.
I can speed you. I can speed you.
We're looking for a kill. Mr. Hylissang. TP.
Yeah, what can I say? He was in Cap's head a bit that game, for sure.
Yeah.
But he did nothing that Mickey couldn't do. Honestly, I did not expect Fnatic to have these big cojones to pick Pike and 1-2. So next time I just first pick Pike, and then he can show what he did.
I really love that.
I don't want the narrative to be he is the best now for sure, because we couldn't play him. Like, it's just the best of what he took it. So
Listen,
what are we supposed to do?
Undefeated team. It's the #1 squad in EU.
Unofficial world champion.
Unofficial world champion. Now they took the belt from. They've got the best Pike. Like, we've got the proof.
What has G2 even got left?
How do you even combat that? Fans at home, try and help Grabs out. Does he have any ammunition?
I mean, I don't need help. I need just rematch. That's all I need.
I love it. There will be one later in the split. Listen, in our match of the week, one man got the party rolling with some well-placed barrels, leaving every Fnatic fan, I'm sorry, saying thank you, Roxa.
Remember, it's just a flash body slam to CC duration, and you'll pop Caps like a balloon.
Caps shows that he gets the kill, but Boxer's here. Against his former teammate, Boxer will get the second kill for Fnatic.
The biggest thing is look at Wonder's health and mana, and look at Hylissang.
Boxer still has flash, Hylissang on his way. Wonder has a flash of his own, dodging around, but there's the body slam, the CC chain! Caps just dodging around as much as he can, surviving for as long as he can, but you have to think Whipper will get there with the chase the Shroud use. Caps still dodging away, the belly bot comes out, and eventually Caps will fall, gifted over to Whippo.
I'm cutting. Can we go on Akali?
I have no summoner side.
I told you, I'm coming back in. It doesn't matter, we kill.
Let's go. Okay, she's here.
Nice.
I'm walking out.
It means Boxer can look for the gank. Wonder underneath the tower trying to dodge away. Flashes early, Boxer's still dead. The slice and dice from Whippo will chase him under the tower. And has to flash the wall. Hylissang trying to clear out the wave as much as he can. Because here's Boxer, the knockback on Wonder, but Wonder dodging around with the Vanguard's edge and back in.
Look, there's only one thing to say.
Thanks,
Thank
Mr. Broxer. Say it, Grabs. Say it.
I won't.
I think that's fair. I actually
internationally I will.
Okay.
But for now,
I actually forgot that 2 of the 3 clips were Fnatic versus G2. So I have to say,
forgot. Okay.
Mr. Grabs for being a good sport and playing with us.
All I want to say is, because you mentioned Jangos before, I think in the first 5 clips of that, Django said grass could be there. Okay. And suddenly LNI has been slain. So I think the map pack was a bit tilted there, but sure, Broxer played well.
Congratulations to Fnatic for the win yesterday. Thank you again for the insight. Just the last few things before we wrap up the show. The LEC will be returning on Friday, the 12th of July. Mark your calendars. It's 3 weeks away from now, and is because of Rift Rivals, then Break Week. Let's check some of the matchups. And Vedius, what jumps out to you on our first show?
Ooh, Rogue vs Schalke could be good. Splice vs SK could be solid. I feel like those are the only ones that really stand out to me. Everything else kind of feels one-sided on paper towards the second half. Unless Misfits fix a lot of their issues, I don't really see them challenging G2. I'd love to see a leader versus Caps. I think that would be fun.
It'd be super fun to watch.
Yeah.
Whether it's 4-0 or 0-4 on leader, that's kind of the
or
way
Caps.
oh yeah, Caps or Crabs, right? Caps or Crabs and leader. We'll have to see. I mean, any other matchup you'd like to watch that day, Grabs?
No, I think Splice SK is on paper the most interesting matchup, because I'm not quite sure who wins that one.
Yeah.
The others are clearer for sure. And we have last game again.
Hey, the most popular team, most popular team. But yeah, perfect. So as I said, 12th of July, that's when we're back across the Atlantic. Team Liquid versus Golden Guardians is coming up in the not too distant future. You can catch all the action from the LEC in our rebroadcast immediately following the LCS. Grabs, thank you so much for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure chatting to you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Last week and this week.
Always a pleasure, Mr.
Venice, you were
Grabs.
okay. That was
my job.
Yeah, you leak. Stop leaking. That was
I leaked nothing.
Thank you very much. Join us next Thursday as Rift Rivals kicks off in Los Angeles. Hopefully we take down NA. See you then.
What do you mean, hopefully?
Thank you so much.
I leaked nothing. He doesn't tell me anything.
I did not come to play, I came to dominate. 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 Dominate.
Shizuke's already stolen the cannon on one sweep right in the midst of everything. Crown Shot throwing out so much damage. They're all grouped up with the inside. Is it going to be enough? Though the Simmer now coming into turn. Shizuke finding the stolen ultimate. Crown Shot is still alive, but it will not be enough. Point and click him down. Attila will find the kill. The double for Combo Shot. Meter on the way in. Abadagi finds one. He's looking for two. Wants to get Gorilla. Gets it with the gunplay. Double kill for the Akali. Leader flashing through. He wants the kill. He wants the revenge. The knockup will not connect. A beautiful stopwatch from Abadagi will keep him alive. He goes out. He goes right back in. Trick pulling back the Ezreal. Now caught in the midst of the team. Hot on the retreat. Oda one cutting through this entire lineup. Grabs the solo kill on the bot side. Xerxes incredibly low, however, the knockup is there coming from North Sky. They're just going to immediately delete one member. Kame is still alive. Patrick in the midst of everybody. There's a Chachi with a big up. The shutdown onto the Draven.
And now notice it is Expect in the side lane. He has the teleport up without the Baron, but whoa, they're going in. He's got the hit. Catch Jeskla.
There's no package here on Nemesis. He might have just jumped into his demise. Jeskla chopped out. Trick, boom goes the AD carry. But G2 won the fight. They're thirsty for blood. They're thirsty for kills. And they're hungry for a little bit of rogue. The Ignite comes down on Profit. He's going to take away. Caps gets it. Wonder with the nut onto Inspired who goes Golden Perks is shut down. But now G2 may focus the Nexus instead. Caps trying to do what he can. The Nexus will fall. And G2 take their 5th win of the split.
Stage. Roses are red, violets are blue. Your rap was garbage, and your region is too.
God damn, Betty! Calm down, you can't do that to him!